It has been entirely too long since we have heard that. What is going on, everybody? Welcome, Arvanauts. Welcome, everybody, to a Saturday night stream. It is my great pleasure to welcome everybody to a Saturday, May 3rd, 7:54 p.m. Eastern in the evening as we get ready for day 35 of Expedition from the Mysterious Peaks. This episode we are calling Enter the Centurion, mostly because I always wanted to call something Enter the Something, because I always thought that was cool when I was watching shows with it. It is good to see everybody. Before we get started, as Prince Justin has already started to do and getting ahead of me, which is awesome, because already knows what I'm going to be doing here. It's just really cool. But it is welcome to everybody as we get ready for the session tonight. Ways to support us on the channel. If you haven't done so already, please follow the channel. Check out our YouTube with !ArvTube. If you have not done so already, check out our Discord with !ArvCord. Oh, and speaking of YouTube, thanks to those of you and welcome to those of you who are watching on YouTube. And if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. It is free for you to do that, but it really does help us out. So please consider doing that. It is free, as I say, but helps us in the algorithm. You can get immediate access to the content that we post over on the YouTube channel. So please do that. We are almost to 1,100 subscribers. So close. I've been talking about this for a couple of months. Let's get the rest of the way there. And thank you so much for those of you who have done that already. Discord, !ArvCord. You can hang out with the Arvanauts in between streams. Twitter, !ArvTweets. Blue Sky, !ArvSky. Website, arvaneleron.com. Financially, ! Arv Shop is the merchandise area. ! Arvtreon is my Patreon. Trying to build that back up into triple digits. You can get really cool stuff for you. Please do look at the rewards for that. You can get an epic poem. You can get an epic character background written for you, a whole bunch of other stuff. So please do that. Please as well consider subscribing to the channel, because you can get those custom sub badges and emotes to use here, there, and everywhere across Twitch. And you can get inspirations for our tabletop players, both with the Patreon and the subsystem. We are updated for the month of May, so everything is current, but inspirations definitely help out our players and may be needed maybe even tonight. We'll see. But definitely during the course of the month at some point, I imagine. And on the publishing front, ! Icarus, my graphic novel from Athos Arts. ! Library, my Tales and Tomes, The Forbidden Library. That's my 5e adventure and sourcebook from Alligator Alley Entertainment. And ! Greyshade. That is my Greyshade IP, Greyshade Renegade Heretic, available at that link from Athos Arts, the Grey Assassin trilogy. You can also get the audiobook of Greyshade from our very own Trent Sparks at that link, and you can also pre-order the tabletop role-playing game of Greyshade, coming to you from Brandon O'Brien as the lead designer and Alligator Alley. That is going to be released at Gen Con, August of this year. Very excited for that. So please jump on board and support us by getting that, and definitely get that if you are interested in dark fantasy, intrigue, narrow alleyways, shadows, and hope in the midst of darkness. If any of that sounds cool, if you're looking for Blades in the Dark meets D&D, then this is the right place for you, and you'll definitely want to get that. So pre-order that as well. And as always, ! BLM, Black Lives Matter, important to affirm and assert the significance and importance of Black lives. ! Help Now, that's the World Health Organization page on suicide prevention. Important to reach out to others when you need help and reach out to others when they need help as well. And ! Ukraine, UKRAINE, to help the people of Ukraine as they fight back against an illegal and illegitimate war with bravery and courage, and send the message we'll do so for others in that situation in the future. Expedition is happening tonight, then starting on Tuesday. We are well into the month of May. I have now put up the tentative calendar. There'll be a couple of probably moves and adjustments over the next few days. I always caution people to be careful, because in the first week of May, some things can shift, as everyone confirms, but we think we have more or less these things pretty much set, and we are pretty much set almost on the ArvCon schedule as well. ArvCon 2025 is this month. It's coming up in a few weeks. It'll be happening during Memorial Day weekend in the States, May 23rd to May 26th, to benefit the Damon Runyon Cancer Research Foundation. Super excited about this. I now have 5 companies on board as corporate sponsors, still waiting to hear from some others. We have that. We also have a number of people that are going to be part of our concert. We have a number of tabletop players that are going to be part of this. So I will be announcing the corporate sponsors sometime in the next 8 to 10 days, and I'll be announcing the schedule for ArvCon sometime within that 8 to 10 day level as well. But I'm very excited about it. And we're going to be featured, of course, by Damon Runyon in the newsletter that they send out to everybody. So I'm very excited about the implications of that. And it's an honor, of course, to be featured by them. It is going to be a $5,000 goal this year. And if we raise that, then we will go over $40,000 raised for the Damon Runyon Cancer Research Foundation in the last 11 years that we've been running this. So that's very exciting and is real tangible good that we're doing in the world. So that is awesome stuff. But that is all for a later time. On Tuesday, we'll be having some Beowulf with the amazing Tari Tunes. And then moving into Expeditions Rome over on GOG.com's Twitch channel with Pen and Pixels, because on my channel, I'm now doing Oblivion Remastered. But not right now, because what I'm doing right now is I am unmuting myself so that the folks know we're ready to go, and I'm apologizing because I couldn't hear whoever might have been speaking. And then I am unmuting them, and last but certainly not least, I'm heading over to reveal to you the full crew. That's right. The crew is here. They are ready to go. They are confident. They told me that they had no doubt that they were going to just steamroll over everything. The quote was "no pressure." This totally happened. In no way am I making any of this up. But anyway, no, I'm super excited to have the crew with us as we get ready to enter a crashed spaceship, if they can survive the thing that's guarding it from them getting there. But we'll see. But first, it is my great pleasure to welcome them in. I will start with, as always, top left of your screen is, of course, Rhiannon Held. Rhiannon, it's good to see you. How is life in the universe and everything with you, and whom are you playing this evening?
Life is good. Pacific Northwest. I hate to say the weather is getting good because I like cold weather, but it is getting sunny, which is nice for a little bit before it gets hot. Pacific Northwest hot that we're bad at dealing with. And I am playing Centurion Vermin, who is a half-elf healer, but healer sorcerer, divine soul sorcerer. Spreading the healing around.
And that may be needed given the current circumstances, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Always a pleasure to have Rhiannon with us. Also a pleasure to have one Toya Kristen Finley with us, who is still high on the drafting of Cam Ward, who will undoubtedly be the quarterback for the Titans for the next decade, whilst my team continues to say, what is a quarterback? Why do we even need a quarterback? Why would quarterbacks exist? I know this is sports ball talk, but Toya and I often trade comments about our respective football teams. How are you otherwise, Toya, and whom are you playing in this session tonight?
That is the Cam Ward celebration.
Yeah, the Cam Ward celebration.
So disrespectful towards Will Howard. My goodness. You don't believe in Will Howard. You don't believe in your quarterback.
They don't believe in Will Howard. That's why they drafted him in the 7th billionth round. Anyway, so.
Oh, I'm good. Went to an event yesterday where the head coach had Greg Cosell and a local radio host where they went over the draft picks and broke down tape. It was glorious. Anyway.
Nice.
I today shall be playing a human bard by the names of Nals Darkly. Also, her real name is Nalik. Wondering, first of all, I'm trying to remember exactly what happened. I know that our good wolf is about to do some stuff if we can stay alive. So I'm interested to see how that goes.
That's right. Yes, and it's going to be an interesting. I can't wait for the next couple of combat rounds. But we'll get there in a minute. Always a pleasure to have Toya with us. Also a pleasure, of course, moving down diagonally to the left. Always a pleasure to have LaShawn M. Wanek with us. LaShawn, it is good to see you. How is everything on in your neck of the woods, in your part of the world, and whom are you playing today?
Today is relatively cool, but spring is coming to Madison, Wisconsin. So I am starting to think about gardening, and it's just going to be nice. So we haven't had any like we've had rain, but it not the big storms like
Yeah.
you guys have been having.
Yeah.
So yeah. But I will be playing Raven Galinar, who is, I think, about to make a very weird and risky move. But she is a Lorendi. Well, no, she's a yeah, she's a lunar Eldori, but kind of like yeah, based off of Lorendi, but it's Esper Genesis. Um, yeah, so she's doing something. I don't know what she's about to do, but she's about to do something.
I never know whether to be troubled if a player's like, I don't know what my character's going to do. I'm like, well, who will then exactly if you know. But this is what happens when writers play these things, because we're like, I don't know, our characters are invested with authority. Yeah. So anyway, but I'm excited. I'm excited just like you to see what Raven's about to do. Always a pleasure to have LaShawn with us, and of course, always a pleasure to have one Mr. Zach Clay with us as well. Last I spoke to Zach was via a text yesterday when I was reliably informed that Zach was kicking ass playing Magic. And I have no doubt that this happened and that he basically dominated his group. He sent me a text where he was like, doing the DX chop to everyone around. No, I'm just kidding. None of those things happened. He just told me he was playing Magic. So how did everything go? Did you do well in your Magic session yesterday, Zach? And who are you playing today?
Yes, of course, Magic the Gathering, the other primary IP owned by Wizards of the Coast, who also own D&D. Yes, I will inform you. We played 3 games of Commander last night, which average around 2 to 3 hours per game.
Ooh,
and
nice.
I won, and there's four-player games, myself included, and I won all 3 of them.
Wow.
So my luck is expired for this month.
Yeah, exactly. It's all crit ones from the rest
yeah,
of the
got it out early. 3 separate decks, 3 separate wins. I'm probably not going to win again for a while. So I'll savor it while I can, and I'll be riding this victory into next week. But that's Magic, and this is Expedition from the Mysterious Peaks, where I am playing... Who am I playing? Oh, I'm playing Dr. Jaraxxus, the Dentist Cybermancer. I knew the whole time, I just did that for suspense.
Yes, definitely.
That's my character, and I'm excited to totally not TPK tonight.
Absolutely not. And yeah, let's get a little bit of music going here, and we'll talk about what happened in our previous session, which is always valuable for both players and viewers that may be joining us. No deaths, please. Yeah, well, listen, I'm just the mess. I just call balls and strikes, man. That's my job. In our last session, the crew of Sataria, Nulls, Raven, and Dr. Jaraxxus are on their way to the ruined, devastated ship of the Centurion, which crashed into this planet of Thalos many, many years ago, in fact, centuries ago, and created an enormous change in the fortunes of that planet. It was the thing that brought them access to things like Magitech, which later on would turn to be out a mixed boon. There is still controversy as to whether it's a good or a bad thing. And of course, the Centurion is also a ship, which is the source of the distress beacon that was notified to someone like Raven, for example, who heard about this, but definitely Dr. Jaraxxus, who was in a ship that had found this beacon. It's what led them to the planet in the first place. And so the Centurion is sort of the central point of a lot of things. It is also assumed that this is at least partly where the Caridin, these creatures that we discovered in our last segment of this adventure, were responsible for attempting to reach out and manipulate the mind of the Twilight Elves and have this other effect on the people of the planet, which may be why the Primarch is gone mad and is sending people to kill Nulls and others. That all put together means that this seems to be the source of a lot of these questions that the party hopes to get some answers to. First, though, it's got to get there. So it was able to get through the caverns relatively smoothly, met a couple of balls of light that sort of seemed like will-o'-the-wisps, managed to get through some chambers that were darkened, but they managed to get there, climb up this, go around that. They managed to get everywhere until we actually got to this section when, as I move us over to the map here, they confronted Where is it? There we go. They confronted this enormous machine, this sort of stone-breaking, rock-breaking thing, which was moving around this enormous cavern. They had been given a map to this by Dumig Rieger, one of the creatures, one of the dwarves who was there and had first seen when the Centurion crashed. He was one of the ones who had opened it up and made it accessible to others. He was the one who gave them information on as to how they could get to and then access the ship. But this, of course, was not in the equation because this thing was accompanied by a number of several creatures that were in the same robes as the cultists that had attacked Nulls up on the surface of the planet of Thalos when we began this campaign these many sessions ago. And so apparently the cultists are somehow involved with looking for something. It's not clear as to what. Maybe they also were looking for the Centurion, who knows? But in any case, this thing is around basically destroying stalactites, stalagmites, rock formations, and everything until it attracted the attention of the party, or rather the party attracted its attention, at which point they started to battle it. The fight has been... I don't know how to classify this fight. I mean, they took out some of the ads, if I was thinking about this in an MMO context, but the stone-breaking engine itself has not been damaged much yet, although there is one exception to that, which I'll talk about. Just before we get started, though, Nulls is still sitting... I have you at 38 out of 38 hit points, I believe. Is that what you have, Nulls? Yes?
It is correct.
Okay. We have, of course, Gamork with us, who has taken quite a few hits. He does have a periaptive wound closure on him that is helping, but that only helps a little bit, so we'll see. Then we have, of course, Sataria, who is sitting... I have you at 15 out of 22. Sataria, is that right? Okay.
Yep.
Jaraxxus is sitting at 14 out of 28, I believe. Right,
Yes.
Jaraxxus? And last, Raven, I have you at 18 out of 28 currently. Is that correct? Okay. And I believe this is after Sataria has already tried to do some healing. This has been a bit of a bruising fight, I would say. However, right towards the end of our last session, in the midst of this combat, a gravity sphere was cast. And I don't remember whose gravity sphere this was. Was it you, Jaraxxus? Okay. A gravity sphere was cast basically on the underside of that massive globe that you see in your picture chat, about this hatchway, this sort of curved hatch, which I mentioned at the end is stressing exceedingly. You can see it sort of like almost pulling and cracks appearing in the surface of it because they're trying to get the damn thing open, which seems reasonable. At the same time, Gamork is basically right underneath it, battling it, and as we and Raven was just about to, as LaShawn mentioned, about to do something crazy, but we don't know what yet, because we are at the top of the combat round. And so I'm going to hand things back over at the top of the round to Nalik, because I think we stopped at the end of a combat round. So I think we go back up to the top, which means we will start with Nulls. Now, again, combat situation, Nulls, I believe you were you may remember there was a ledge that you first saw this room from, and you came down a little ramp, a natural ramp, basically. So you are still, I believe, a good 20 or so, maybe 25 feet away from this machine, which is doing everything it can to stomp and slam and do all these things because it's really, a big thing. So that's sort of the tactical situation. Gamork is underneath it. You are near it. Raven is going to be heading towards it, if I understood that correctly. Sataria is next to you, Nulls. And there is this gravity sphere which is stressing the hatchway underneath the globe. Did I miss anything that anyone remembers about that? I think that's the situation as I have it set.
I had spiritual weapon up, I think. I
Yes.
just want to establish that. Okay.
Yep,
Good.
that's correct. Yeah, you do. Otherwise, so I'm going to bring that over then, Nalik, to you. So, Nulls, you are looking at this situation. What would you like to do?
Yeah, so Nulls' biggest issue is that the pressure point that hatch, because there's a doorway, right? We can tell there's a doorway and there's somebody
Yes.
piloting this thing, and Nulls really isn't close enough or to get up to that thing. So I'm looking more, and that's really the main enemy left, is getting this thing down or getting the pilot down.
Yep.
And I believe last time I tried something to try to take out the pilot, but I really can't at the moment.
With that door, at least with
think.
that door closed. Yeah.
Right. And I can't see the pilot.
Yeah. The whole thing you can see actually looks very much like what you see in the drawing, with there's clearly light coming from inside it, but those panels there are completely opaque, so you can't see through it.
So who is next up in the turn order? Is it Gamork?
It is Gamork is up next, and then the big thing comes after that.
Okay, so...
Although, sorry, one quick thing. But it is going to have to save against the gravity sphere on its turn, so be aware of that, because that was something we wanted to remind ourselves of, that it has to save against the impact of that.
Is Bardic Inspiration a bonus action?
Yes, Bardic Inspiration is a bonus action, yep.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cast Blade Ward
Okay.
on Nalik.
Okay.
Okay. And then I am going to use Bardic Inspiration on Gamork.
Okay. All right, you were going to inspire Gamork. That seems logical. Okay. Now, and then movement-wise, are you staying on the ramp more or less, like right at the bottom of it, like, again, 20, 25 feet from this thing, or?
Yeah, I mean, there's really no place I can move, right?
I mean, no, you could move around or up. You could go back up the ramp. You could go around. It's just, if you want to stay in this relatively, a distance that you can do a fair number of things, you can do that. But you could move. You're not prevented.
I think at the moment I will stay where I am.
Okay. All right. That's going to lead us to Gamork. Now, Gamork was slammed to the ground by this thing before. So Gamork is going to stand back up. He looks a fright. I mean, he always looks a fright, but even more of a fright. Blood, on his muzzle and everything, and scratches and growling at the thing. And then is going to look up. Now, the sphere... trying to think. He's not going to leap. I think what he's going to basically do is I think he's going to try to keep its attention.
Wait a minute. I've got a question.
Oh, sure.
Because we gave him that rope to wrap around.
Oh, that's what he's doing. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
We were doing the Empire Strikes Back deal. Yes, that's right. So on his turn, yes, thank you. So that's right. He has a rope in his mouth. So he is going to basically book it around this thing. I am going to say that it will probably take him... He's at top speed. I'm going to say that it's probably going to take him 2 full turns to get this wound around. And then Gamork by himself is not going to have enough strength, by the way, to pull these legs, closed, to trip this thing. So you have the other end of the rope where you are. So at some point, someone's going to need to get over and be pulling on his side also. But he hasn't even done the loop yet. This is also assuming that he doesn't get smacked down by the thing, which is trying to attack him repeatedly. So, but
How does the inspiration help him?
The inspiration, I would say... I mean, since he's running around, the inspiration is not going to help him run any faster. He's double moving anyway. I'll tell you where it will help him. It will help him on a saving throw if this thing tries to slam down and affect him. That's where it will help him. Yes, Gamork is Usain Bolt. That's exactly right. He is basically a cybernetically enhanced large wolf version of the greatest runner of all time. That's basically it. Okay, so let us then pull up my notes on this machine. Which I swear I have. We have a new version of this, which is why I'm looking in 2 different places. Okay. I'll do it the hard way. Which is down here. Yep. Book is too big. I need the full hardcover, brand new version of this. Okay. Almost. There it is. Okay. Woo. Sorry about that. All right. So let me see. Is he going to... All right. I think what he's going to try to do is he's going to try to stomp him. So he is going to try to stomp down. He used one earlier that affected everybody.
Yeah.
But this looks like it's different. This looks like it's targeted towards a very obnoxious wolf.
I should mention that because the gravity sphere is affecting this construct, the gravity sphere, a creature, well, it says a creature. I'll let you use your discretion whether that counts or not. But it says each creature that starts its turn in the sphere must make a dexterity saving throw. On a failed save, the creature is considered restrained.
Yes.
As long as it remains in the area.
Right. No, I'm doing that first for sure.
Okay.
What's the DC that I'm aiming for on that?
I think it's 14.
You said dex save, right?
That's right.
You'll be surprised to know that this enormous, massive engine is not the most dexterous thing that you've ever seen. So with its -1 dex, no, it is not going to get that job done. So it fails, which means it is now restrained.
What that means
yes.
Is that it, well, you probably already know this, can't move and then has disadvantage on attacks.
Yes, which is good because it's going to try to stomp on our good friend Gamork. And it would have rolled, let's see, a 24, but because of your gravity sphere, it instead rolls a 9, which is not going to hit Gamork. Although Gamork sort of like is doing the serpentine, like, dodges left as the thing slams down, but it does not hit him. And so Gamork is making his magnificent run to glory as he goes along. Good call on that gravity sphere. That is going to have significant effects. Also, the gravity sphere is severely stressing this, and this is going to be important for Sataria, Jaraxxus, and Raven, but particularly Raven, if you are going underneath the thing, which I think is what you were planning to do, you can really see now the hatch looks like multiple cracks now in the surface of the thing. The hatch looks very close to being able to spring open or break. It's clearly being stressed by the gravity sphere. Okay, so that's going to lead us to Sataria with Jaraxxus on deck. Sataria, what would you like to do? You've got your spiritual weapon up. You have a wolf running for its life, and then everything else I just described.
Well, let's take care of the spiritual weapon at first. Can I use that sort of on the hatch that's cracking, or does the gravity sphere interfere in that location?
I don't think it would interfere with a spiritual weapon. That's one of the beauties of this thing, is that it's kind of sort of in the plane and not really. But I will say that if you're using the spiritual weapon on that, I'm going to have to give it a little bit of a minus. It's kind of like a called shot, especially with the... it's just the sphere obscures it a little bit. So I will give you a -2 if you want to aim for the hatch directly. But if you hit, it will probably have good value on the hatch in terms of damage.
Okay. If I instead went for like whatever arm is sort of going for Gamork, would that also have a negative?
It would not. No, because those things are so large. It wouldn't. It probably wouldn't stop the arm though, to be honest, because those are pretty big things. Maybe over time you could smash it into bits, but it's not going to happen on one turn with a spiritual weapon.
I mean, it sounds like it's better to take the risk and be effective. So I'll
stacking
go for
that damage. Okay.
Yeah. Can I? So 15 then?
15 will hit. Yes.
Okay. So 9 damage.
Okay, 9 damage. Yeah. So that actually does the cracks like, and then the door just shatters outwards. And you can see sort of sitting up, well, actually, you can't see this. Never mind. The people who go underneath will be able to see something. So I'll describe that in a minute. But you can see that the bottom hatch is basically exploded out, and there are shards of glass and so on and metal just covering the ground.
So as far as my main action, I do want to do some healing, but even if I use my sorcery points, I need to be within 30 feet of somebody.
Yep.
So Gamork is off running.
But he's actually doing a loop that you could probably get to him, since this is all happening in 6 seconds. It would be one of those, like you're not going to get him next turn because he's going to be on the far side of it.
Mhm.
So if you want to heal him, then now's the time. Everybody else you should
Yeah.
be able to get to.
Okay. Because he's looking pretty bad, isn't
He's
he? So
very messed up. Yes,
okay.
even more than normal messed up.
Let's hit him then.
Okay.
15.
15. Nice. Okay. He has a greater spring in his step. Okay, yeah, that was nice. Good stuff. Thank you. Okay, and then movement wise, are you staying where you are, Satari? Or
Yeah, I'm staying where I am.
Okay. All right, that's going to lead us to Jaraxxus, and Raven will be on deck. Jaraxxus, you just saw that smashing of the glass.
Okay. Can I move? I know that I'd be putting myself in danger of it.
Certainly you can
Well-
move underneath a large machine.
Yeah. Although I imagine if Gamork fulfills what he's trying to do, that it's actually going to fall away.
That's
like
true.
It won't fall straight down.
Yeah, you don't know what direction it'll fall, but it wouldn't be
Okay.
straight down.
So yeah, in that case, I'll actually go right under it.
Okay. So I can tell you
and-
just when you look up
Yeah.
that you can now see that there are basically two seats, for want of a better term, and you can see both of there's two apparently humans, or at least humanoid creatures that are dressed in these same kind of red outfits that you saw from the creatures outside that are staring down with evident expressions of surprise on their... Well, actually, no. They're both masked, so I take that back. You wouldn't be able to see their expressions, but they're definitely looking down at the ground at you. And the inside of it is basically this control center. Obviously, you don't have time to get a great, look for all of it, but you can see that they are now exposed to the bottom.
Well, I will look up and I will, Jaraxxus will shout, "Stop moving!" and is going to not waste a turn otherwise. I think I'm going to shoot a sprite beam.
I thought you were going to try to
probably.
intimidate.
I mean,
get out of there.
well, it would probably be my whole action to do so, but
it would
I
be your whole
think-
action.
and I'm not the most charismatic. But yeah, I'm gonna shoot a sprite beam and then hope that the more damaged they are, the more their morale will chip away.
Okay.
So here I go. I'm aiming at one of the two pilots, and that's a 20 to hit.
The 20 will absolutely hit.
So it's 9 points of force damage, I think. Yeah.
Force damage, okay. And you hear this this cry of pain from the pilot, and he yells something to the other guy, which you can't quite make out. And the other one starts doing something, you can't tell what, but is trying to manipulate some control within the sphere.
Yeah, Jaraxxus shouts, "Put your hands up!" and ends his turn.
Raven, that leads us to you. You promised us something wild here, LaShawn. So what are we looking at for Raven? You're muted, I think.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So Raven has been charging all this time, and she has seen the what happened. So she's going to duck under and join Satara and look up and see.
Jaraxxus, I think you mean. Satari's on the ramp.
Yeah, Jaraxxus.
Yep.
She's going to join Jaraxxus and
Okay.
look up.
Yep.
And how far away are the humans from where she is?
15 feet probably up, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sitting in these seats.
Well, she was very, very happy that the seal was broken
I'll
because she wouldn't have known what to do otherwise. But in this case, she's going to look up and see one guy. So she is going to cast. Let me see. oh, let's do a mind spike. I think that would actually be more effective.
Okay.
So she's going to cast Mind Spike and aim it for. She can't. She doesn't know which one Dr. Draxus has already hit. So she's just going to pick the dude on the left.
Okay.
With the person on the left.
Okay. Okay.
Basically, make a ranged channel.
All right. Go ahead and make that attack. I'm gonna randomly decide if it's the same one that Draxus aimed for. Okay. I now know. None of you do.
I just need to remember how I always do this. It's like, I'm going to make this attack, but how am I going to do it?
Yeah, how can we help? Should be
So
yeah, on your spell page, in which I think is the third page of the character sheet. You'll see an Esper attack modifier.
Modifier, which is
what is it? Okay, so
okay,
you
so
roll
just D20 plus 6 then.
Exactly. Yep.
Hey, what's up, Jimmy? Good day. Congratulations on a heck of an election, Jimmy.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Wow,
70.
60-20.
No.
70. No.
You have to roll
20 and then
slash R D20 plus 6.
although I was like, damn.
No, 70 to hit. Oh, and then plus 6 to that, so
18.
18, okay. 18 will absolutely hit, yes.
Okay.
So, and then we have damage from the from said attack.
yeah, whatever Mind Spike says.
Mind Spike is 4d8 psychic. So, 8. 16.
All right, 16 points, yes. So you will be happy to know that the one you hit, although it was not the same one that Jaraxxus had hit, that actually just kills him outright. His body slams against the top of the sphere, basically the control sphere, and then lands on what looks like, you see a great spark, Raven, and all of a sudden, the entire thing lists to the left. And you think what happened is that he landed on the control panel. So the thing is now like, as it's like moving over to the left. Now, as it is doing this, it basically unbalances and begins to tip. So I am going to roll a 4-sided die. On a 1, it's going to head towards the ramp, which is where Sataria and Nulls are. On a 2, it is going to head towards where Gamork currently is running. On a 3, it is going to fall harmlessly away from Raven and Jaraxxus. And on a 4, you two are going to need to make dexterity saves to get out of the way of this thing smashing to the ground. So we're going to see what we get. Obviously, the ideal would be a 3, but we'll see. In fact, I think I'll roll this. I shall roll this in roll 20. All right. And D4. It is a 1. And I believe a 1 means that it's heading towards Sataria and Null. So I will need the two of you, please, to make dexterity saving throws as this massive thing plummets to the ground in your direction.
Oh my god.
Wait, hold on. I can't see it. It was messed up in my thing.
We just both rolled 21s.
Nice.
They
man,
high five each other and do a synchronized dance.
Yeah,
out of the
exactly.
way.
All of a sudden, it got very, very epic in just a moment. All right. Wow. So the two of you
using my 20 on a save too.
Right. Yeah, that's right, actually. Wow. Okay, so yeah, I would say that you all we get the slow-mo John Woo, like just to the left and right as the thing smashes to the ground and hits the ground. A great cloud of dust and stone comes up. And as you're all just sort of like staring at this thing as a sort of a silence reigns over the cavern, the one remaining sort of pilot guard person You see them feebly crawling out of the what's left of the sphere, and stand up and start trying to run / jog / stumble away from all of you.
Okay, I'm going to yell out, grab them. Don't let them get away, but keep them alive.
Okay.
Are we still in initiative?
Not anymore. Raven and Jaraxis, you're probably closest to it, although Gamork, closest to this person, although Gamork could also... You don't know what Gamork's going to do. Maybe Gamork has had enough of these things.
Yeah, I don't have any particular ability to pull someone.
I
I'll...
do.
Oh, go ahead.
I do have something, but it takes concentration. So
That's not a problem.
No, it's fine.
okay. Then I could well, it's a cantrip. Yeah, it's a cantrip. I'm going to cast friends.
Okay.
And make him think we're not enemies. We're your friends. Stop running.
He is, of course,
Slow down.
going to be
We're
under
here to
some...
help you.
He's going to be under some fair, significant distress. I'm going to say, so let's see. So the deal is that you now have advantage on charisma check. So what you're basically doing by doing this is you're going to try to persuade him, but you have advantage on it, or you have benefits to it now, advantage on it, because you're trying to persuade him with this. I am going to say, Raven, that you would have had disadvantage on trying to convince this person that you weren't hostile to them, insofar as all of you are standing over a machine that you literally just brought to the ground.
Yeah.
So
There is a caveat usually that the creature has to not be hostile to you.
Right. I think actually, but I'm going to let that go. I don't think it's actually
Okay.
hostile. I think it's frightened beyond of its life. What I'm going to say is that therefore I'm going to make this thing. I'm going to even out the advantage. So instead of a disadvantage, we're just going to make it a normal roll. So what you're going to need to do is going to try to persuade him, Raven, or them. You don't know who it is yet. By running after them and yelling at them something. So what are you going to yell at them and persuade them? Like, what do you want to yell at them to try to tell them you mean them no harm?
I am going to say, wow, pressure. We did not mean to kill you. We did not mean to hurt your friend. Stop running and we will be able to tend to your wounds.
Okay. Go ahead and make a make a persuasion check, which should be on your sheet. I think probably the first sheet. It should show you what it is.
Yeah. Yep. So 1d20 plus, and I have high charisma, and I'm proficient in it. So
okay.
So
all right. So we have an 11 plus what? Plus 5?
Actually, plus 7.
Plus 7.
I'm proficient in. Yeah.
Okay. So he
18.
so the robed figure sort of stops or slows down and then turns around and kind of looks, and you can see the same Nulls. None of the rest of you would know about this, but Null certainly would. It is the same mask that you've seen on some of the others, and the same mask that you saw on the guards that were the cultists way at the very beginning that killed Elu's brother and all that stuff. It's the same mask that they're wearing. These are the sort of cultists of light masks. And so the person, creature, whatever it is, turns back towards you and says, and kind of looks in your direction and takes a one halting step towards you. And then you see their body jerk, and the gold mask radiates what looks like golden fire or electricity on the mask, and they faceplant into the ground.
So I'm gonna run over and turn over and
You smell
try.
burned skin. This
Crud.
person has been electrocuted.
Oh,
But it definitely, you saw it
it's dead.
originate, Raven, from the mask.
Jaraxxus will approach.
Okay.
And did I also see that this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Jaraxxus will kneel down wordlessly and touch the mask and cast Analyze Device. You discover all commands, workings, and electronic or mechanical functions of a automaton, construct, device, machine, or vehicle. Ooh, I get to do this for the big thing too. You
Okay.
gain basic knowledge on how to activate and operate the device. You still need to make appropriate checks to use advanced functions or access data from it at the GM's discretion.
So what you can determine about that, Draxus, is that this thing is not itself a device. It seems to have been essentially a receiving unit, might be the best way to describe it. The interior of it. Now you would have to lift the mask off if you wanted to do this, and I'm assuming you're going to. First of all, when you take the mask off, you are shocked to see the sort of little uncomfortable. I won't describe it in great detail, but the burned face of the person who was wearing it. But the face is not of someone who seems particularly old. If you had to guess, maybe not even 20. This is a very young person who is here, but their face is very burned, and you can see as you take the mask off that there might have been internal components, but they apparently were burned beyond recognition and sort of fused by the same, presumably, like electrical current that went through it in the first place, killing this person. But it clearly was the receiving device for whatever that current was rather than the producer of it. It's almost like it picked up a radio frequency which was tuned to kill. Exactly, Proxima.
Okay.
So as Dr. Jaraxxus is doing this, Raven's going to look and see that this was a young person, and she's gonna freak out.
Okay.
Well, not freak out, but she's going to be like, "What is this? Who is doing this to these people? This child was young. Who did this?" And she is furious.
And can we check out the other bodies now?
Sure. The other bodies, which were already dead, but they are also cloaked with similar red robes. Two of them are carrying basically these sort of what look like almost halberds, but they also have these masks as well. And you notice that on the masks that you smell that same telltale odor. And the masks clearly have also triggered on these creatures as well. Obviously, this did not kill them; they were already dead, thanks to you people. But the masks now have eliminated any internal workings you could have found, and has also burned the faces of these ones as well. The other two are different than the other one. They are both older. One seems like they might have been male and one female, although it's hard to tell because of what was done with the burning. But one of them in particular, Sataria, I would say if you're looking at them, you don't recognize them exactly, but it seems like they're people that you might have been familiar with from your work at the academy. Not a specific person, just people that would often come in and out and pass by. They could have been tradespeople. They could have been, whatever. So the point being that these are people from apparently all across Thalos, not just in one spot.
Can we tell what race each person is?
These look to be human, you think?
And underneath their robes, what clothes are they wearing?
Simple tunics and leather pants and nothing very. They also don't really have anything on them except for what I previously described: those gold masks that they're wearing, the red robes, and then the weapons that they possess. But they don't even have any like pouches of gold or silver or identifying documents or anything like that.
So, Malls is going to take the mask and the robe off of one of them.
Okay.
With the hopes that either we can take these back and they can be further inspected, or also, if we need to sneak into someplace at some point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not putting that on my face.
Well, I didn't say Knowles was going to put it on her face. But,
With the analyzation that I did, would I believe that the masks won't do that shocking thing again?
You would think it very unlikely that they would be capable of doing it again. It also probably, though, would make it a little difficult for them to go on the normal way, without being like they're a little misshapen now because of the like they're not destroyed,
On
but
the
they're
inside.
like yeah.
They can
Exactly.
at the worst, like there still can be some research done on them.
Yeah. And are there enough GM for each of us to grab a set of robes and a mask?
Yes, because there were 2, 3. Yeah, between them and the pilots, yes. Also, I should mention there was one person who was a little different from the others that had similar weapons. One of them just had a simple dagger, and I want to note that the person also dead, also with a mask and so on. Otherwise, they have a dagger, and there are some strange markings on the hilt. You don't recognize the symbols, but they seem to be almost like stitched into the leather of the hilt of this dagger. And there's also probably about, I don't know, I will use my light panel remote control. This size of a bluish crystal. You can see that it's kind of glowing. It almost looks like a piece of ice, but it's not cold. In fact, when you hold it, it's slightly warm, but it seems to be glowing with its own internal light. And this was found in a little pouch on the person of that one different individual that I mentioned. No other things in the pouch, just this glowing blue thing.
Okay.
Can the actual, you said they're like little almost tick marks in the hilt?
I wouldn't say tick marks. I would say like maybe letters or runes, possibly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that I would like to do at some point, because I have sending now, is to send a message to the Twilight Elves, or maybe even, what's the name of the dwarf?
Doomig Rieger.
Doomig Rieger. So we're getting
also known as this guy.
Yes.
Right there. Yes.
We're getting lots of information, so I can only send a message of like 25 words or so.
That's right.
So at some point, and I'd like the help of the party to do this, to decide what message we want to send to them. It would be awesome, because of Nals's ability to visualize, if she could also send like a visual message as well. But I don't know if it's possible.
Yeah, at the moment, sending is mostly just text-oriented, and I know this because in my other campaign, I have someone who uses sending all the time, and they're constantly like 1, 2, 3. God damn, it's 28 words, 20.
Yeah.
So it's like a high-stakes Twitter post.
At any rate, Nals will also take the dagger.
Okay.
Okay. So I assume we each, at least Draxus will. The rest of you can decide if you don't, I suppose. But we each loot a mask and a robe. Draxus says that he's going to walk over to the fallen over machine and attempt to enter it. I know that the orientation will be all off because it's on his side right now, but Draxus, his intent is to enter inside of it and using this analyze device prime talent and then also just his own knowledge try to analyze it. But that's what he heads off to do.
Okay.
bit solemnly.
While he's doing this, Gamork, who no longer has the rope in his mouth, kind of slowly pads up to you, and still looks kind of messed up, but much less messed up than before Sataria's heel, and kind of comes over and just sniffs at the fallen bodies and kind of like wrinkles his nose and turns away.
I'm going to talk to him right now, actually.
Okay.
I think that would be... let me find my Speak with Animals already.
While you're finding that Speak with Animals, just quickly,
There we go.
I want to know what Sataria is doing and what Raven's doing, and then I'll come back to you, Nels. Sataria, what are you doing?
So she definitely was looking at bodies and sort of in contrast to Raven, who was reacting to who the person was, you can sort of tell that Satari is used to having sort of teaching cadavers, and that's all she's sort of thinking of. So she's respectful, but not sort of reacting emotionally. And she is not going to take robes or mask because of like hygiene sort of twitchiness she has, because like I assume they have fairly strong hygiene protocols at the academy, and so she's just like, no.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Sounds good. And yes, cause of death, Sataria, which probably would have seemed obvious anyway, was a massive electrical shock. And sudden for the one that we're talking about.
Yep.
That was Raven. Before I get to Nulls, and then I'll come to Jiraxis last. What are you doing, Raven, after this semi freak out, as you mentioned?
Well, she's upset. She's leaning over the body of the young person, and she's not crying, but she's definitely like shaking the fury, or just shaking. And she's not in a good place right now.
Okay. I will note that for the party to consider as well.
I think,
go ahead,
as Jiraxis was sort of standing next to Raven when when that reaction happened, I think Jiraxis would like go to enter into the machine, and as he steps at the hatch and kind of like his hand resting on the metal, he'll turn back and he'll look at Raven still sort of staring at the body, and Jiraxis will call out to her and say, Raven, could I get your help in here? And just sort of wait by the hatch entrance.
So at his words, she's going to visibly pull herself together, but it's very much a struggle, and she's going to get up, and she's actually, no, before she gets up, she's going to like lay a hand and actually mutter a few words, and nobody hears what she's saying, but she's going to mutter like a few words over the body.
Okay.
And then she's going to get up, and as she passes Dr. Jiraxis, she's going to say, I did not leave the Institute to do this all over again. And that's what she's going to say.
All right, well, let's talk about what... I'll get to you, the both of you in a minute. Nulls, you want to talk to Gork?
Yeah, and I've got a really quick question.
Sure.
Because Nulls actually speaks several languages. She definitely would not recognize the runes on that hilt.
No.
Okay.
Definitely not.
All right. So she goes over to Gamork and says, another battle won side by side, my ally.
Are you doing Speak with Animals here?
Yes.
Okay. So, and Gamork is sort of, like, you can see he's kind of snuffling, like he's trying to clear something out of his nose, and stench of it.
Does any of it smell familiar?
Yes.
And where have you encountered this smell before?
And Gamork swings his sightless head towards you and looks, sort of tilts his head and then says, "When this was done to me."
You haven't spoken much about that. Who did do this to you?
The time has not yet come when I can talk about the things, but if I find them, I will tear out their throats.
So it wasn't willing.
And looks again, sort of swivels his head towards you, and then moves his great head. So we have this moment where Knowles is sort of looking down, and he's kind of looking up. It's a, alien looking at Ripley moment, right? Like in the ship. And then Gamork says, "No thing done to my body without my wish was done willingly. But when the time comes, I will willingly kill them."
Well, that sounds like a plan. Can I help?
You and the rest of them have thrown in your lot on this course. If we are allied together, then yes, you may kill with me. In the meantime, this, and he kind of like moves his snout generally in the direction of the bodies, is but a fraction of their strength.
I was afraid so, and expecting it, but let's continue the hunt. And sorry.
That's fine.
I
growl.
let everybody know that what Gamork said and like the procedures and everything that was done to him, that the same, entity or person did this to all of these people here as well.
Okay. While that is being described to them, Jaraxxus, you and Raven enter as best you can. As you say, like the orientation's all off, so like you're sort of like stepping on, glass and areas. Right, exactly. But you do come to the control panel, which is largely destroyed, and of course lying on it is the body of this, like the one that clearly like impacted the control mechanism, and you can still see some sparks and vaguely hear like some kind of like rotors in the background, like it's still trying to go left, which is what apparently the control thing was stuck on when he fell on it. But if you're going to use your analyze device on it, which I think is what you plan to do, as near as you can tell, this thing was designed for mining purposes. It was designed to be able to sort of rip and tear and dig through stone with ease. It was not principally designed, at least you don't think initially, for combat, but there are definitely things which you think were added on later, almost like modifications, to make it potentially combat ready. And very clearly, it was not actually mining here because it was all haphazard. Like it would dig into an area and then there would be like a bunch of stone on the ground and then it would go over to some other area and it would reach for it. But it wasn't any kind of like steady digging down to something. So it was definitely looking for something. You don't think it was for mining though, because it would have had the capability to do that with more ease based on what you read in these controls than what it was actually doing when you came across it. Looking for something but not mining, if you had to guess. But yeah, so it is a modified mining device.
Before Jaraxxus turns to speak with Raven, is there any chance that there's some sort of like, are there any blueprints in this thing or correspondence or any indication of what it was doing? Like one of the analyze device things, I mean, this may not be the case, but it says that, let's see, you may still need to make appropriate checks to use advanced functions or access data. Is there any data to access?
You don't think so?
Can I find out?
You don't think so? This doesn't look like it's computerized. It looks like this is largely mechanical in nature.
I see.
And so, yeah.
Okay. Jaraxxus will turn to Raven and After,
and I'm sorry,
Yeah.
not to interrupt, but just one thing that reminded me. The technology that made the mask is not the technology that made this thing. It might have added modifications to this thing, but the technology for the mask as a sophisticated receiving and obviously able to convey current device is much more is a much different kind of technology than what this stone breaking mining machine would use.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. All right. Jiraxis will turn to Raven, and I'd like to imagine that on his visor and sort of surrounding him are these, scientific kind of sci-fi circles and lasers and beams and stuff that are analyzing stuff, scanners. And then as it all fades and it's just his normal face, he turns to Raven and he says, for what it's worth, I don't know much about these people, but I am sorry that this happened to them too. You said something out there. You've experienced something like this before?
Raven is not going to reply. Instead, she's going to turn around and go to that person at the controls.
Okay. Kind of have to pick your way there,
And-
Raven, because it's all kind of,
Yep.
messed up.
And so she removes the mask. And is this what's the person with this mask? Or underneath?
First of all, the ears are slightly pointed, eyes slightly angled. Person looks vaguely elvish, maybe half elvish. Probably female, you think, and older. There is some silver gray in this half elf or elf's hair.
Oh, this was the one that she killed. So
Yeah.
So she's going to stare at the face for a very long time. And then just like with the young man, she's going to basically lay her hand over the face and like say a few words under her breath that Dr. Drax is not here.
Okay.
And then she's going to come back and say, she's going to come back. And she's under control again, but there's like a set, like she's set. She's got this set face. She's going to, like, she's ready to go and kill whoever did this.
Okay. Okay.
And she's going to be like, she's just going to shake her head at Dr. Draxus and just continue helping him. She's not going to say anymore, but you could tell she's just furious.
Draxus will, seeing that there's not much else to analyze in here, and it doesn't seem like there's any additional gear or anything like that. I know that Alik picked up the dagger, but Nalik, did you also pick up the glowing blue crystal?
Oh, I thought the blowing blue crystal was a part of the dagger.
No, it's separate. You found that in a pouch at the person's belt.
Yeah, I meant to pick up both of those things.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I'll head back out then, and I'll say to everyone, well, from what I can tell, this was a mining machine that they adapted for some other use that I can't make heads or tails of. But he'll sort of have a lingering glance at Raven and then back at everyone else, and he'll say, but I think the danger is gone for now. We can continue when we're ready.
And Null says, but what were they trying to excavate? And she looks to Gamork and says, do you sense anything underground?
No. Smells of burning. And he kind of sniffs the air. Now, again, you're in the midst of this enormous cavern. And Gamork just... No. But there is... And he kind of jerks his head towards the center of the cavern. Now, the center of the cavern is also, you all know, where the map that Dumig Rieger gave you leads to, the center of this cavern. And that's where the map basically leaves off, is there. So that's as much as Gamork could be able to sense, apparently.
Okay, so I direct everybody's attention to that area, and I ask both Raven and Draxus, do you have technology that can pick up anything unusual as all this is?
Well, there's supposed to be a great lift here, right? Draxus will look around for an elevator or a disc or something.
You see no such thing. A lot of stone columns.
Is there... we haven't really looked at the other side of the chamber from where we entered.
You have not.
assume.
I mean, I can tell you that the largest column, because it stands out from the others because of its thickness, is about 40 feet wide at the base, you think? Very large. And it's at the center of the cavern, more or less.
Oh. Maybe there. That seems like a good place to put a lift. And Draxus will kind of look at the battlefield and then start to walk over a little bit.
Okay. What about the rest of you?
We've looked over everything, basically.
That's up to all of you. But I think you've looked at all the bodies, I believe, and what's left of this smoking, slightly sparking stonebreaker device.
Zetaria is following. So
Okay. Raven, you and Nulls as well?
Yeah. Raven isn't in the place to look for stuff. She's just going to follow the others.
Okay. All right. Well, when you get to the center of this thing, you find what looks just like a column. I mean, it doesn't look like a lift. It looks like a stone column that seems to be naturally formed. However, I would like everybody to make perception checks for me, please, as you arrive at this center column. Okay. Got an 18. Anasataria. 15. I don't think, LaShawn, you got a 29 just now. And 17 plus what?
Plus 1. So 18.
18. And wow, all of you are real focused, and then a crit success from Draxus. Okay. So that means that all of you are able to see what is on the edge of these, on the surface of the column. Now, on the marked spot on the map that Dumig gave you are a set of 4 sigils in a diamond pattern, and I will show you a picture of this in a minute. What you notice on the stone column is that there are 4 12-inch wide sigils carved onto the surface of the column, and the sigils match those marked onto the map. So let me upload a handout for all of you, which I already thought I had done, but apparently I didn't.
Puzzle time.
Let's see. Let's call it sigils.
I'll cast Innervate on myself while I'm waiting, so I have some temporary HP.
Okay.
7.
Let's see. So we do this.
You guys hear the, not sure if any of the, well, other than Greg, if the other 3 of my cast members have played Halo at all, but you hear the shield recharge sound as a little blue light surrounds Draxus briefly.
All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show this to all of you.
Mm.
And I'm going to show you these sigils. And I'm going to also see if I can put this on the stream so that it's easier for the folks in chat to see it. So give me just 1 second, chat.
Okay.
While they're looking at these. Okay. And then I go
That's cool.
up here, here, and then upload this, which looks like this. Okay. So chat, now you can play along at home, as they say. So this is what they see, basically. And so what you note is that, as you'll see there, that there are 3 more rows of these sigils. And so there's an equal distance around the surface of the column between each row. So basically there's a column of sigils and then another set of column of sigils and then another set of column of sigils and then another set. One equidistant from each other, spaced around this big central column.
Is there, if we look at the columns, is there an indication? I see in his notes that that top symbol is separated from the bottom 3. Do we see something in this pillar that would correlate with that? Like something that seems just slightly asymmetrical in that way?
You do not see anything asymmetrical about that. I mean, the column itself looks naturally occurring, so I guess in that sense, but nothing that makes that symbol or anything stand out, no.
Well, what if, I imagine we touch these or something? Weren't you, he points at Sataria, didn't you go to school? I mean, I did as well, of course, but you went to school on this planet, which is, shouldn't count for nothing.
Yeah. But I was studying healing. It's not puzzles.
Well, he paces around. Think about it like this. The lift is broken and it needs healing, so mend it. Make it work.
It seems like there should be an order, but if it was just a straight order, why would you not do them straight up and down or straight side to side? Why are 2 equal? Or maybe 2 need to be pressed at the same time.
So
So
Raven's gonna,
Oh, go ahead.
can I investigate the columns?
It's one column, just so you're
it's just
four different sides, basically. One on
okay.
each side of this column.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
not 4
okay.
different columns,
One
one
column.
big column.
Okay.
Yeah, it's confusing because it says column 1, column 2. I don't know why it does. It's like a column of sigils, but not the column. You know what I mean? Like there's the central column.
Yeah, can I still investigate and take a closer look at the column and see, like, if there's any wear or tear or...
Sure. Go ahead and make an investigation check for me, please, Raven, if you would.
Does it, I mean, maybe I should do my own investigation, but I can also ask Raven. Does it look like pressing them activates something?
Let me do it.
First of all, I shall say. Here, let me just make some quick switch thing, chat, so I can get this back over to the dice roller. There we go. Okay, 15, and then plus intelligence, Raven. So
Oh, 15 plus 5.
okay, 20. All right, so 20. So you're asking that to Raven, Sataria, about the
Yeah.
whether okay. Yeah, I mean, Sataria, you would say that. Sorry, ask that question again. What was it that you asked, Sataria?
If it looks like pressing them does, because like a button's popped out from the surface or something that, takes your fingerprint has a contact point, or is there any reason to think that pressing them is doing something?
So it looks like, Raven, to you, you don't see them as buttons or sort of elevated. They are definitely carved / painted, if you will. The sigils are somewhat faded onto the rock. You don't know whether touching them would have an effect. There's nothing. It doesn't look mechanically like there's something to push in, but you don't know whether could be magical, and then putting your hand near it would cause it to activate. You don't know. Is what Raven would notice.
Okay. So I tell that to the others.
So, Nalls gets an idea based on what Satario was saying. It's like, do you maybe press 2 at the same time? And she notes that column 1 has that first symbol. Then if you go left to right, column 3 has that second symbol. Column 2 has the third one, and then column 4 has the last one. And she wonders, do we put our hands on them in that order?
Draxus looks around at them and he says, well, as far as I can tell, all 4 of the faces of the column have all 4 symbols.
Well, but one of us would have our hand on that first symbol, and then one of us would have our hand on the third symbol on column 3. Mm-hmm. Then one of us would have our hand on the third symbol in column 2, and then one of us would have our hands on the last one in column 4.
Okay. Draxus moves up, and he will be the column 2 person.
Well, I guess Nalls is the column 1 person.
Okay.
Okay, 3.
That leaves me with 4, I guess.
Okay, so to be clear, specifically, what symbol on each column are you pressing, and also, are you doing them concurrently, consecutively? What are you doing in terms of what gets pressed when?
So I'm suspecting that maybe there's not an order to that it maybe should be all at the same time, simply because if you look at the notes now, it's saying about where the symbol is in the sets of 4. And so then there's not really any order inherent in that. It's just saying these ones in the sets of 4. So that makes me think at the same time.
Yeah, Nalls agrees with that.
That's smart.
Okay.
So Nalls has her hand on the very first symbol of column 1.
Okay.
And then in column 2, I'm doing the third symbol.
Okay.
And column 3 is the third.
Column 3 is the third of that one. I see. Okay.
Yeah.
And column 4. What's the third? Wait.
It's the bottom.
The bottom
4th one.
The bottom. Yeah, column 4 is the bottom.
Okay. All right. So you're all doing do you go on 3, 2, 1, go, or 3, 2, 1, like, are you all going at the same time?
Yeah, we go, all right, ready? We're going to do the 3, 2, 1, Here we go. 3, 2, 1,
Also, hi, Drew. And, yeah, just do all the possible combinations if there's no death trap or magic damage. Okay.
Yeah, watch. We all instantly die.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So 3, 2, 1, contact. Exactly, Prince Justin. All right. You all put your hands on your respective symbols. All of them glow and change from yellow to bluish light, and they all stay lit for about 3 seconds and then fade, and nothing happens.
Which one did you put your hand on, Soteria? Sotaria, sorry.
Yeah, the third one down. I mean, that's what it looks like.
I think you need it on the fourth one down.
What
it's
symbol
that-
are we looking at?
So on Doomig's notes, on the two that are side by side, the one that it's like a 3 with like 3 check marks with a line through it almost.
Mm-hmm.
That's the last one on column 3.
Mm-hmm.
So if Jaraxxus is doing the first one on column 2, then
so what we did, what I thought we just did, is that what Sotaria was describing, where based on their positioning, you're pressing the first one in column 1, and then if the symbol that you just described, that 3 with the cross through it, that looks like it's 3 down. If the symbol that you're pressing is first, almost from top to bottom, almost, then that's 3 down, and then the V underline or upside down A looks like it's on the bottom.
Right.
So that's why we did you on column 1, symbol 1, and then I did column 2, symbol 3, because that's, well, other than column 1, I guess, that's the only place where that symbol is on the third down.
Right.
Yeah, I thought we were doing that first symbol at the top of the notes, but yeah. So on my column, that symbol is the third down.
Well, that's a second interpretation, is us all just pressing the same symbol, but
yes,
anyway, Toya, I'm not sure what you were saying.
Oh, no, I was saying, and I don't know the other thing is, what is the order, right? Because you could go clockwise or counterclockwise as well.
Yeah.
So,
what happens? Draxus will just put his hand on a different symbol on his column. Does it also glow blue for 3 seconds?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So
if he'll just go,
It just does this ding, 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 ding. 3 seconds, 3 seconds, 3 seconds.
They're all. Okay.
What if it's a thing where the top and the bottom you press at the same time, and the 2 at the side you press at the same time, but you don't press them all together?
Or if left to right is time, then you have to press. And if we also combine that with Rhiannon's idea, then we press the first symbol, the T, first, and then the 2 top and bottom ones at the same time, and then the last one.
Jim,
I see. Okay.
Jimmy points out in chat. So Jimmy, it's actually it's a little confusing because of the way it says in the drawing. But there's one single column. There's one row or one column actually of each of these sigils on equidistant around the column. One on one side, one to the right, or one to the north, east, south, and west basically. Right, one set of sigils in each.
So do we want to try that? Where
let's try that.
Left to right is time, and then up and down is position. So then I think Sataria's would be first.
Yeah, me first.
And then Nolik and Raven, and then Jaraxxus last.
Okay, so to be clear, that means Sataria is going to press the top symbol on column 1 first. Is that right?
No, I'm gonna press the third symbol on column 3.
The third symbol on column 3. Okay.
And then Nalls presses the first symbol on column 1.
Okay.
At the same time as Raven, right?
Yeah, and Raven pushes the bottom symbol on column 4, the upside down A with the slash.
Okay.
And then Jaraxxus waits to press in the third symbol on column 2.
Okay. So in the end, we're looking at on column 1. So who's on column 1 is my question.
Nalls is on column 1.
And you're pressing the top one after Sataria presses the third one, presses the bottom one on column 3, or the
third one on column
third
3.
one on column 3. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. Third base. Exactly, Prince Justin. Okay. So, and how? One quick thing is, are you waiting for, like, are you doing them? I know you're doing them in order, but are you doing them? Are you waiting like a second or two before they fade, or are you waiting in each case for these to fade?
Maybe we could test both, where we press them in, let them glow for 3 seconds, then fully go out, and then do the next pair. And then if that doesn't work, then we can test a, like, press and hold for 1.5 seconds, then the next, I don't know. But we'll test, like, as if it's in separate entry codes that you have to let glow and fade first, I guess.
Okay. So when you do that, sort of letting glow and fade, column 3, 1, 2, 4, I think is what the order was, but
1, 4, 2.
I'm sorry, 3, 1, 4, 2. Yep. They all light for that 3 seconds and then fade. Nothing happens.
Diraxis says, "What am I thinking?" And he'll cast Analyze Device on the wall.
This is not a device.
It's not a device or machine?
Nope.
Okay.
It may lead to a device or machine, but it itself is not one.
Diraxis lowers his hand and he says, "I'm done with your non-technological planet." He'll sit on the ground in frustration.
Can Nalls do like an Arcana check on this? Does that work?
Sure, yes, but sort of, I guess the question is what you'd be looking to find out.
Maybe to understand these symbols better and maybe what they mean. See if that helps figure out, like, the order.
I don't think this would do that. An Arcana check might be able to tell you if they're magical, but I think you can do that without a check. They're pretty clearly magical. They might be able, because you wouldn't even be able to detect the school per se. It's definitely magical, Nalls, there's no question. But as far as, like, what the symbols mean, not familiar with these. The only reason that they look at all familiar is because they are clearly the symbols. You can see them that are similar to what Doomig wrote on the sheet there.
Oh. Well, I was about to say, is there a column where the positions of these symbols all would match? But that's not possible because there are 2 symbols that are in the same 3 position. Yeah, that doesn't work at all.
Well, can we try the other idea of I don't think we tried this permutation yet, where Sataria and Jaraxxus hold the symbols at the same time, and then Nalls and Raven hold the symbols at the same time. I don't think we tried that. Have we?
No.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. So the same symbols that you pressed, but this time 2 and then 2. Is that right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Glow and then fade. Nothing happens. Also, Draxus, what were you asking? I guess you didn't ask it because you decided it wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right now I'm looking at where each symbol is positioned on each column, and the fact that some of the columns have, for example, that upside down A in the first 2 columns is in the same row. The next 2 columns, 2 separate ones. And that's kind of the trend for a lot of them. Where, except for the T, which is in 4 different positions, 1 for each column. And then also the S thing, squiggle, is in 4 different positions. So I don't think that has anything.
So another thing that I noticed is, I'm looking at the Doomig's notes. That first symbol is up higher, much higher on the sheet than the other 3.
Mm-hmm.
And the other, you have 2 on the same line, basically, and then 1 a little lower. So you have 1 column, with that first symbol, that T symbol, way up top. and I'm wondering if there's some correspondence between where these are on the paper versus where they are on the columns, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Also,
It-
I'm wondering if this was really realistic, how much credence, like Jaraxxus will go over to the note page and he'll turn it upside down. He's like, "Well, if we're supposed to read it like this."
I'm
I
going to give you. Oh, go ahead, Sataria. But I may give you a check, Draxus, based on that in a minute. But go ahead,
Okay.
Sataria, first.
so next idea. There is one of each symbol in the first place. So let's look at the first places and ignore the other places for now.
Mhm.
And if we assume that we're sort of looking on the notes page, if we're looking down at the top of a column, um, it actually, I think, is in the right order because on one side of the column that we're looking down at, we have the S, and on the other side, we have the A, and that's sort of like sides 1 and 4. And then the T and the tally marks are on sides, 2 and
Yeah.
and
Okay.
or whatever, on the top.
Mhm.
And so maybe that's if we imagine looking at the column from the top, maybe that's saying that like side 1 of the column like comes out somehow. Like maybe we just focus on that side, like because it's coming out from the group of the other 3.
Mhm. Yeah. But I think I tried to look for something. I mean, unless this happens as a result of what we're doing, but I tried to look for something that physically distinguishes the fact that one symbol is separate,
Yeah.
looking at the column, and he said there wasn't anything.
You're going to try turning it upside down.
Yeah, I grabbed the paper and I'm like, what if the A is supposed to be on top?
I would like you to make for me, please, an investigation check. Artificer in chat suggests maybe the spacing is timing. Like the first one has to go all the
Yeah.
way on and off. Next two have to go on right when they're about to go off. The last one is on. That's interesting, Artificer. Hold off on the potential solution, Jimmy. I want the players to figure this out to the extent that I can. But hold it in reserve, because after we get through this, unless we don't and we're stuck here for the rest of the campaign, but assuming we do, then definitely.
We return twice a month, every month, to try to solve this puzzle.
For those of you who don't know, Jimmy joined us during my last session of D&D. Lives in Western Australia and is building this incredible badass D&D table with like fog effects and all of this incredible stuff that he's been showing
wow.
pictures about. So anyway,
Amazing.
okay, so yeah, go ahead and make that check, Draxus.
11. I'm gonna. No, I'm not. Go ahead.
You're gonna add something to it?
No, I can't. I mean, I could, but I'm not going to.
Okay. Yeah, something like when you do the flipping the paper and back, something like tickles your mind. You don't know what though. There's like something about positions, but you don't really get a sense of it. It's like there's you're like, I don't know.
Are there okay? Draxus will give the paper back to Sataria, we'll say, or something, and he'll say, maybe why don't we focus on everything aside from this damn pillar? And Jaraxxus says, I may not be the best at this, but I'm going to look for footprints. And he'll start looking around to see if there are any clues that were left by people who have ever used this thing.
There may indeed have been clues. Those clues, unfortunately, have been obliterated by a massive mining machine that seems to have been in the area stomping around quite recently.
Okay.
Sadly. In fact, you note that the sigils in this column seem to be the only thing that were not, like, either touched or affected by the smashing of that thing.
Is a seam from which a door would appear in the column visible?
Go ahead and make a perception check for. No, investigation. Sorry.
Okie dokie. And
Seamless.
it's seamless.
Yeah, you're not sure, but you don't think so.
Draxus says, well, if all else fails, I can try to go back to that machine, jury-rig it, and we can just blow the column open.
Maybe looking back at the notes, maybe the one signal that is above all the others, indicates it's the starting point, and then all the rest it goes by, and then all the rest shows the order. So like in column 1, that S signal is the first, and we're actually hitting the top ones, but the very first sigils, but it's done in a way. I don't know.
Yeah, let's try.
So
Well,
like for column 1 would be the S, and then column 2 would be like that T. Column 4, well, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
I also want to
Well,
note to the players that I was 5 minutes ago going to give us our break, but then you were in the middle of the puzzle. So I'm happy to have us take our break, but I also don't want to.
I mean, maybe we
know.
need a break to.
That's true.
Yeah.
You want a 5-minute puzzle break? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're going to give these people a 5-minute puzzle break, and you can speculate without giving full solutions, but you can speculate if you like, chat, while we're doing that. You are watching the awesome expedition from the Mysterious Peaks crew, which survived a Stonebreaker engine. Now can it survive the deadliest enemy of
true
all, the
boss.
puzzle, the true boss.
Yeah.
As we are joined by Rhiannon Held, Toya, Kristen Finley, LaShawn M. Wanick, and Zach Clay. We will be back to you folks in just about 5 minutes, 9:40 Eastern. So until then, everyone, thank you and hold tight. There's my mic. Alrighty. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to day 35 of Expedition for the Mysterious Peaks. Enter the Centurion, or will they? That's really the question. Will they? Will they be able to enter it? No, I'm sure they will, given some time. But when we left our heroes, they were trying to figure out this puzzle. And I wonder now if they've had a break. They're like, obviously the answer. In the meantime, Chad has been like, we think we know. So it's like, I got 50%. I know it. I want to scream it at the screen. So it's the classic, some people are playing along with you. What would you like to do, players?
Well, I used my break to make a burrito, so.
Oh, I thought that burrito
I
would give
know.
you all you need to
The
know.
burrito will fuel me with knowledge.
That was the key. The pillar immediately opens. No, just kidding.
Did we try the idea that it looks like an italic lowercase t to me. That first one, the very one at the top. Did we ever try touching that one, letting it glow and then fade, and then touching the next two, and then immediately after touching the bottom one, the upside down A? Did we do that?
Oh, if time is up and down?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. We didn't try that yet. Do it.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay, so you're touching the top one, letting it fade, and then the bottom one, the
middle two
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, and then immediately after the bottom one.
Okay, and which is on which column? But which symbol on which column?
Nulls is on column 1.
No, sorry, I just meant the symbol. Which symbol are you pressing on which column? So you're
The top one on column 1.
okay. Yep.
And then me and Sataria, I think,
Yeah.
are pressing the third symbols on our columns, respectively, 2 and 3.
2 and 3. Okay.
And then I will touch the upside down A on column 4.
Which is the top one on that one, right?
On
Okay.
No, it's the bottom one.
on column 4.
On column. Oh, actually,
The
wait a
upside
second.
down A on column 4.
Yes.
Do you have a different key?
Yeah. Just a moment. I think we may have-
Oh boy, did we
You
solve this a
did.
long time ago?
No,
You did,
no.
Greg.
No, that's so funny. Wow, I'm gonna have to talk to them about that.
Oh no.
That's funny.
Oh
But-
my goodness!
But it's not.
what?
But actually, okay, wait. So I'm gonna have to. You would not have solved it to this point anyway, though. But
Okay.
but having said that, I do want to make sure that I'm correct on that. Yeah, because what I have here that it's showing. Yeah, boy. Okay, that's correct. Okay, so that one would be that one. This one. Okay, so yeah, so that's a bad error that I will tell them. In fact, I'm going to mark this down right now. Hold on, I'm going to write a note to myself.
Also, I guess add to your
Oh,
note
no,
that they're called
about-
columns when they should be called probably faces, if it's all on one column, as you said.
Yes. Okay. I will do that. So, column 3 and column 4 are reversed. So,
Oh, dear.
column
Oh.
4 should be column 3, and column
that does
3
change things a bit.
should be column 4. Let me confirm that's right. Yeah.
Okay, if that is the case, then there was a permutation where, oh god. Wait, so column 3 and column 4 are reversed. Okay, so let's just keep Sitaria on column 3, which is now column 4,
Hmm.
and Raven on column 3,
Four,
which is actually
now
column 4.
Yeah.
So
So
that would mean there was a permutation where we were doing the 2 by 2 at a time, where Sataria and I would have been touching the symbols at the same time.
Yeah, and I guess just to be completely clear, to make sure that I'm remembering when you first did this and you pressed all four at once, also, which symbols were you pressing at what time? I want to make sure I know that also. Because column 1, you were pressing the top one, I think.
Yes.
Column 2, you were pressing the
third
one. Okay. And then column 4, so column 3, which should be
true column 3.
which should be yeah, what you see as column 4 should be column 3.
Mm-hmm.
So what were you pressing on that one?
The bottom one, when we did it all at once.
Okay, so the upside down A would have been
Yeah.
column 3 in that event, and then
Yep.
column 4 would have been what? The column 3, which is column 4.
It's a
third symbol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Down.
So that's all that.
Yep.
Oh, so we did it.
You did.
We
You
had
did
it
it
the
right
first
the first
time?
time.
The
You did it
first
right the
time,
first time.
okay.
Yes. I'm
All
sorry.
right.
Literally reversed it. The answer key literally has 3 and 4 reversed. Wow.
Wow.
Well, I'm glad we know
Well,
what happened.
I'm glad to know we are
We are
SMRT
the playtesters.
smarts.
You are the my goodness.
Wow. Oh.
I will let them know. Yes, that's exactly right. Column 3 and column 4 were reversed. So so I have a question. Is that what that wasn't what Artificer was thinking about? But of course, that's because you didn't know because of this. Jimmy, was that what you were imagining was the solution? Was that one?
Well, part of the problem is we solved it, but it wasn't quote unquote right. So now everybody was trying to
Exactly.
come up with a bunch of other.
And I didn't even notice it because I'm looking at the answer key and it's like very clearly sort of listing what these things are. Sure. So what they did was they pressed the top symbol, which is that S, in column 1. They simultaneously pressed in the second column the third symbol, which is like that H with a line through it, more or less, right? Then the third column, what they show as the third column on their notes is actually the fourth column in the answer. So basically, their notes are wrong. Column 4 should be column 3, and column 3 should be column 4. So with that in mind, column 4, which should have been column 3, or rather, yeah, what they saw as column 4, which is actually column 3, they pressed the upside down A. And then the last one, what they saw as column 3, but should have been column 4, they pressed the third symbol. And when they press all of those in that order, the thing does what I'm about to describe. So, because they just literally reversed in the solution, they literally reversed the 2 columns. So, I will have them correct that. You had the top symbol of each column in this order. You had it in reverse of what you did. Okay. 1, 2, and 3, 4 became 1, 2, and 4, 3. Well, but they all were doing it simultaneous. They were right about the simultaneous. They got it right off. It's just that, I was looking at the answer key, which was literally the opposite. So, whoops. Anyway, so when they do that, though, the stone surface of the column. So good job is what I'm saying, players. When you do that, the stone surface of the column shifts from its center, and there's a and this is why we play test. Yeah, the outside shell, the outer shell, separates and collapses into both the ceiling and the floor. So that and then right, like that. No, because they wouldn't have the intention to mislead TomTom because the columns themselves are what the players are supposed to be seeing. They just mislabeled the columns either in my answer key or in the notes that the players got, but probably that. So, in any case, so up and down and revealed within, once the rock pulls out of the way, you can now see for sure that there is indeed. Oh, and I see in the meantime that our pictures moved around also. Hang on just a second. Let me fix that. To add to the confusion, also the players are different now. Exactly. All right. Hold on a second. Let me just get that fixed. There we go. So yeah, because Jiraxis became Raven and Raven became Jiraxis. Okay. There we are. That's better. So apparently Jiraxis, there was a seam within it. Revealed within is a cylindrical metal frame that houses a gated platform which is attached to a pulley system of gears and cables. And as you're looking at it, the gate leading onto that caged platform slides open. Would have taken quite a while, Tom, if they tried to brute force it. And you can see, by the way, that at the rear of the platform is a tall, rusty lever.
What a stupid way to activate a lift.
You're not wrong. Draxus will.
Well, how would you activate it?
Raven just stares and then just moves ahead.
Yeah, I do the same. I step onto it.
Okay, the others?
Yep. Oh yeah.
Yes.
And
All right.
Gomork.
And I'm assuming Gomork follows as well.
He does, although growling as he's been doing steadily, like not as usual, but just like a low rumbling, disapproving growl the whole time as he steps onto it. Okay, so you're all on the platform. The gate is still open. Nothing has happened yet.
So let's pull the lever.
Pull the lever.
Pull the lever.
When you pull the lever, which is a little because of the rust, but you do manage to pull it towards you, the gate closes, and then the lift, you hear and then the lift begins to rise. And as you were going up and up, you see the cavern floor dropping below you. You also see that the column's outer wall, like this stone supposedly, rises up down below. You can see basically covering over where the cylinder is again as you rise way, way, way up and then up into beyond the cavern roof and for another 100 feet or more. So there's probably a good 15, 20 seconds or so where you're just in darkness and the lift is and kind of, it's not, it's making it, but it's definitely not the smoothest ride you've ever been on. Finally, you feel that you can sort of see above you the light, see a little bit of light from above you, faintly. And finally you emerge. The lift emerges onto a foggy plateau somewhere deep within the mountain range. You can see mountains all around you, and there are a broken set of mining tracks that are leading from the base of this great lift that you're now at the top of, across a field of scorched and rocky terrain. And in the distance, you can see half-arched columns of metallic debris looming through the fog.
We're outside.
Yes. And you can feel it's cold up here, and also you sort of are like, you all have to sort of catch your breath a little bit. You're pretty high up. Air might be a little thin up here.
Okay.
And the gate also, I should say, comes open.
Well, I don't know about all of you, but I am also a bit hurt, physically. Maybe now that we're outside again, maybe we can make a camp or something, just rest for a little bit. And actually, where are our bodies as far as sleep or not? Like, are we due for a long rest right now?
You had a long rest before you... I don't think so. You had a long rest before you came in here in the first place. You've probably, this whole journey so far has been about 4 to 5 hours, I would say. Soup to nuts from when you got down, from when you went across. You had a long rest before that. So,
okay.
I mean, I guess you could take a long rest, but it would be the last one you get for another 24 hours. You've been about 5 hours from the time that you were rested before leaving.
What time of day is it?
It would now be probably 3 or so in the afternoon, 2 or 3 maybe, 2 o'clock maybe, mid-afternoon. But very foggy up here, so hard to tell, It's light enough that it's clearly not nighttime.
So if we took that short rest, though, I have that Song of Rest.
Yeah, that'd be helpful.
And so if you or any friendly creatures who can hear your performance regain hit points at the end of the short rest by spending 1 or more hit dice, each of those creatures regains an extra 1d6 hit points.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, we would benefit from that.
Excellent.
And basically, Nalls can tell them of the cultists the first time that she encountered them during the short rest.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, I think, unless there's any objections, we make a little camp out here. Is there grass or vegetation of any kind?
No. There's a lot of rocks and a lot of debris and little bits of metal about. Here.
Is there any alcoves anywhere?
Yeah, I mean, I would think that there's a couple of sort of rocks that are almost like lean-tos, like kind of like jutting up from the ground that you could probably get behind the base of. Yes.
Rock shelters.
Yes.
The official term.
Okay. We set up for a short rest.
Okay.
Right.
So again, we're talking about an hour or so that you were resting as you do this. This will allow those of you who wish to do so to spend a hit die. And you all have your hit dice available. You have 5 of them because you're level 5. And your hit dice are dependent on your class. So just looking here quickly, Nals doesn't need to do this, but if Sataria wanted to, if Jaraxxus wanted to, if Raven wanted to, you could all use one of your hit dice, and then if Nals, if you're doing that Song of Rest, you would get an additional free hit die, is what I believe that says.
Or free D6.
Or free D6, I'm sorry, yeah.
So I need to roll the d6?
Yes, you're the one rolling the D6. But that's dependent on who's choosing to rest, though. So, like Raven, Jaraxxus, Sataria, are you all going to roll a hit die? Then
I plan to, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Pardon me.
Okay, so then yes, so then you would be rolling a D6, and that would be added to whatever they come up with.
Okay. And then just myself, I just healed 8.
Okay, so you're at 22 right now, not counting temp and all that. Okay.
Okay, I'm trying to take a short rest here, and it keeps telling me to confirm.
Yep, then just confirm it.
I thought I'm trying to.
Okay, so Raven, that's a 3 plus your con bonus if you have one. Do you have any like pluses to your con? No? Okay.
No.
All right, so then you've got 3 points so far, waiting for that D6. Okay. And then waiting on Sataria, and then that D6 from Nalls in a minute.
In D&D Beyond, I just short rested, so healed by myself for 5.
Okay, it didn't pop up in Roll20 for some reason. Okay. So 5. Okay. All right, so you're at 20 out of 22. Okay. Right. And then I will for that.
And now I need to roll the d6, right?
Yes.
Did it roll?
It did
I
not.
don't see it. Okay, at some point. Wait a minute. You cancel this.
Let me just make sure I'm going to roll. Okay, yeah, so it is rolling. I just checked it myself. There we
There
go.
it
So
is.
2. All right, so then you get an additional 2. So that means Sataria should be full up now, I think. 22. And Jaraxxus, you're at 24. And Raven, you should be at 23 now because of that additional 2 hit points. And how often can you do that Song of Rest? Is it equal to your charisma modifier or something?
I don't think it says. Okay. It just says if you or any, it says 1d6 HP and then PHB page 54. If you or any friendly creatures who can hear your performance regain hit points at the end of the short rest by spending 1 or more hit dice, each of those creatures regains an extra 1d6 hit points. That's all it says.
Okay.
And I also get my bardic inspiration slots back during the short rest.
Oh, so yeah, there is no limit on it. Okay, that's great. So you can do that anytime a short rest is taken. Great, cool, lovely. Okay, and the bardic inspiration's back. Okay, great. All right, so you're able to do that. One thing you notice, by the way, is while you're sitting, while you're resting and sort of thinking about this, there's a real kind of it's not strong, but it's consistent, and it's this sort of acrid smell, almost vaguely acidic, around you. You don't see anything that obviously would show what that is, but it's definitely present.
Okay, I'm going to ask Gamork about that because I should still have speak with animals.
How long does that last, speak with animals?
I think it lasts half an hour, but also we weren't actually trying to solve that puzzle for that long.
Yeah.
So,
No, I know about that. I'm just thinking about between that and the elevator. So
no, it lasts 10 minutes, sorry.
okay. Sorry, I have two cats that are battling each other for supremacy. And by
Boss
that,
music.
exactly. So far, one of them is up on the cat tree, but the other one is preparing to attack. No, not-
Reenacting the Lion King.
exactly right. They got okay. So all right, yes. So then you are able to speak to him at least for the first portion of that rest, I would say.
Okay. Gamork, do you recognize that acrid smell?
No, but it does stink of something burned. Kind of growls. Looks uneasy.
But not flesh.
No. Something metal.
A metal doused in a potion or encapsulated in a spell?
He growls and does not answer. Probably doesn't know. It may not be clear. But otherwise, the rest passes uneventfully.
Yeah, Jiraxis actually would like to do something roleplay wise during the rest briefly. Yes. So Jiraxis will actually approach, even though we're all around, but he'll approach, I guess, Nalik at first specifically. This also applies to Sataria, but I'll address her separately when she comes back.
Okay.
But approaching Nalik, Jiraxis will produce a data stick that he has forged from his extra sim unit, we'll say. Or whatever. It says the last thing that I tried to do that I was waiting for, I needed specifically like 100 cubal worth of sorium, whereas this just says a small piece. So I'm assuming I can produce that somehow from whatever supplies I have. And this is a flat object shaped like a data card. And in fact, we may have had other data cards, or I have a data pad. I'll just use that. And I approach Nalik. Oh, and Satara is almost here too. I will approach them both. And while we're at the camp, Jiraxis approaches Sataria and Nalik and says, if you don't mind, could I ask you both about how this magic thing works? Out in where we're from, and I'll gesture at myself and Raven, we just call it Esper. It's, I've heard it described in the same way you describe magic, though, this energy that permeates the universe, etc., etc. All of my stuff is, I tap the visor, tech-based, but I've heard about people using something like this, and I hold this data card. I might be able to analyze your spells and maybe try to learn one. Maybe give me a couple pointers. So mechanically, I can learn. This is something that I talked with Greg about at the start of last session. I can learn a cantrip from either of you D&D players or D&D characters.
Cool.
And I technically I can pick up a cantrip from any class's spell list, but I thought it appropriate that I pick it up from the 2 D&D classes I'm exposed to. So if you want, can you both show Jaraxxus a cantrip or two, and in that way you'll actually narrow down my options, and I'll pick one of the ones that you both show me, because I actually get to pick 3, but I think I'm going to make one an Esper Genesis one, and then one for each of you. So if you guys could show me multiple cantrips,
So,
roleplay wise.
what would you like to do? Protect, heal, or harm?
Heal? I can't heal. I'd love to be able to heal. You can do that repeatedly, or do you mean mending something?
Well, I have a cantrip. I used it on Gamork, that they don't get worse. So it's not really healing, but it is helping them.
Ooh.
That's spare the dying in out of
Oh.
character terms, but
What were you talking about, Malik?
Well, if you'd like to protect, you could protect yourself from being bludgeoned or pierced or what's the other one? Slashed. Or you could harm by sending a great thunderclap, or even use your words to make someone feel small.
Ah, yes, the vicious mockeries that you've offered our enemies.
That's it.
Hmm.
And then, of course, there's also the way that you can guide someone.
Oh, I would like that. You have
Guidance? Guidance.
Show me how it works.
Okay, so just go ahead and just do my guidance thing.
Guide me to smash that like button. Guide me to like and subscribe.
Okay,
Oh,
so
God.
I will just cast guidance right now because it's a cantrip, and why not?
Okay.
Okay. What is that? What does it look like when you cast it? I guess it just says you touch one willing creature. But does it under the materials or components for guidance, does it say VSM or any combination?
It says
of those?
V and S.
Okay. So that means when you cast a spell, you have to like move your hands in a certain way that's unique to you, and then say, I think you actually get to decide what you want to say, but that represents verbal and somatic. Somatic meaning like movement.
Okay,
So-
wow, that's a great question.
Yeah.
So I guess what Nalik would do is kind of like both a welcoming gesture and kind of like a motion to kind of put energy forth. And I don't know if you can see my hand, but kind of like that. So there's an element of power in it as well. But it's welcoming, it's energetic, and it's like, go on and be brave, do your thing. And then
Okay.
like the kind of light that would emanate from it would be like a light blue, and it would rise from her hand and then drift over to the person who's receiving guidance, and it would like enter through basically their third eye.
Okay. Jaraxxus will practice the gesture many, many times, and I think because his powers, essentially, it is what I'm learning from you is treated then as a cybermancer talent for me. So I think what happens over through the long rest, both with this and Sataria's cantrip, is that Jaraxxus is fine, or yeah, the short rest is translating the magic, because I imagine learning actual legit fantasy magic might be longer than just a short rest endeavor, but since he mechanically can achieve it, I imagine he's actually finding a way through Esper and through his technology and cybermancy to recreate what guidance is like, but technologically almost. And so he copies the gesture, but maybe in the same way that his sprite beam is similar to an eldritch blast, but his shoots out, bits and emojis or things such as that. So after a while, he has his own version of the guidance spell that he then casts on you, and he's like, "Did it work? Do you feel better now? Maybe. I think I got it. It's more of a swish and flick, right? Not a flick and swish."
It's a sweeping up, sweeping. You're raising yourself to the heavens, and you're lifting somebody else in the process.
Hey, if we succeed in our task. Oh, that reminds me. He rests his hands on his knees as he's sitting. He's like, when we finish all of this, I can take all of you into space. I'm sure you've never been. It's wondrous. Imagine the stars. They're very dangerous. You actually don't want to get right up against them or you'll burn and die. But there's still... and there's other planets. There's other people like myself and our Lorendi friend here. There's all sorts of things. Did you see this, Raven? I'm learning, well, how to copy magic, but it's working.
I did feel very present and very guided.
I do my best.
You are, well, I don't know if you're a natural as much as you are, you said that's technology that helps you learn.
Yes. Years of research and lots of Jubal money.
So you're good with a gadget.
Oh, certainly. I mean, haven't you seen all of the good with gadget stuff I've done? Anyway, Sataria, what magic do you know?
So there's a spell for someone who's dying. I'm not quite sure how we would test that out.
You
Knock me
die.
out.
I'm just gonna try this out.
Yeah.
Right? And I think you might enjoy mending. It's a very useful spell. I don't think it could mend your strange technology, but it can mend, normal things, clothing, and it's simple. It's a good place to start. It's useful.
I'll probably go for that. I forget, do you cast some sort of one that does damage?
Let me check. I do have Sacred Flame. So you can use flame on people. It's not a lot of flame, but it's like sunlight, the damage it does rather than burning.
Channeling the power of the sun. Wow. Usually you have to that's a very long process out in the Silvery Narc. Okay. Well,
And, or there's also a message you can whisper to somebody and only they hear it.
Haven't done. I don't think I've done this with you yet, but you see on his pale complexion, and then what is his hair is red tentacles like Davy Jones, and you see his tentacles beard moves, and then you hear his voice in your mind as he says, "I can already do that," just as a alien, sort of an offensive term out where I'm from, but it's a pretty alien thing as far as humans are concerned, I imagine.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Well, I think... I maybe the mending would be good, but...
It's not exciting.
Yes. I think I should learn it if I'm a respectable scientist.
In my training, there was a lot of stuff that I'm still learning because it's good to know, but it is not exciting.
Okay, so show me how it works. And I guess if there's any details about your mending spell, or if it has a certain color or look to it that's unique to Sataria, but otherwise.
Yeah. So what I'm thinking is probably she can take her dagger to the hem of her shirt or something to repair that. And I'm just checking. So I think probably her magic, it looks kind of white, light, sunlight, kind of thinking of sacredy kind of,
Mm.
and when she does sort of draw her fingers along the tear, that's the main sort of gesture of it. The magic kind of um, goes out, and it looks kind of like biological in that sort of like it's going out in kind of a vein artery kind of pattern
Mm.
into the fabric, and then it sort of draws together and then disappears as the spell finishes.
Oh. Draxus will try to replicate the same thing, but in a sort of sciencey, nanite, Esper-y way. And after he copies that down and gets mending, eventually he mends together. He'll kind of tear part of his own coat that he wears, and after he's gotten it, he'll turn to Raven and he'll say, You also have some Esper powers. You do these psychic things, right, Raven?"
So all this time, Raven has been staring into the fire. Or actually, is there a fire?
I don't think you set a
What-
fire. Just sort of into the
Yeah, I
fog.
don't think
Just
so.
the fog, maybe.
Yeah, she's been staring out into the fog and not really paying attention to what the others are doing. And so when Dr. Draxus calls her name, she doesn't exactly start, but she kind of like comes back to wherever she's gone and looks over and goes, "What?"
Oh, just that. Draxus will look over at Nalik and remembers that Nalik was gonna say something about the robe people with the masks and stuff. And he'll say, "Nothing for now. And he'll kind of look between Raven and Nalik, and knowing probably what Raven's still thinking about, Jaraxus will say, "Nalik, you said you recognized those people, or what they were wearing?"
So I guess kind of like this is the montage scene when Malik recounts basically how everything began, meeting Elu, and how it was a square, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all of these cultists appeared, killed Elu's brother, and how she met the other people that she was on a journey with at first, and that like the one powerful image from that day were those masks that the cultists were wearing. And so that we have run into them again, and in fact, Gamork has shared that those same cultists are tied to the people or a person who basically transformed his body and the body of his pack with bodies of his pack with the Magitech. And so there's been a convergence now.
So they overthrew a city here.
Yes, in very traumatic fashion, unfortunately.
There's this sense, though, that they are not exactly willing, some of them. You know, it's sort of like the shadows with the elves. The two of you were arrived just late for this, but you know how we saved those elves from the weird tube things. Right before that, one of the elven leaders was possessed and also released some shadow creatures, like the one that we fought in the big room. This theme of creatures being controlled without their consent.
And it seems these Caridin perhaps come from space and have used the technology that both you and Raven are so familiar with. I wonder, are the cultists worshipping them?
Yeah.
And at that, Raven gets to her feet and then she walks away. Basically walks away from the group. And not too far, but kind of put some distance between herself and the others.
And Jaraxis says, I've been doing a good amount of trying to help Raven acclimate to this planet. It is a bit strange, you have to admit. But I think for this once I'll let Raven come to us when she's ready. I need to practice my cantrips.
Well, and anyway, Raven stared down something when she killed that pilot.
Yeah. Well, we're approaching some sort of ship, I think, which should probably be abandoned. So, no worries. And then she and I will be in our element. We'll finally have something we understand.
If you wish to lead the way, I'm all for following.
It is what I tend to do, if only to be a pincushion, but I can take it.
All right, so you folks are headed out towards the metal debris in the distance, if I understand that correctly.
Yep.
As you move along, the fog in the area is very thick, and I mentioned that there's an acrid smell, and as you move along, the acrid smell gets more prominent. Not overwhelming, not like suddenly it burns your skin, but just you feel it definitely is getting stronger as you go along. There are also, you notice, patches of scorched earth marring the ground in random spots. This might have been also what Gamork was referring to about burns. And I would like Sataria to make an Arcana check for me, please. For a particular reason that you shall see. Especially now.
Whoa.
with the power of, was that a crit? Is that
Yet another 20
just,
on a check.
Just absolutely spectacular. You know everything. Sataria, you're almost certain that you may have studied a little bit about this effect, but you haven't seen it this prominently displayed. This was a widely reported after effect of the Magitech cataclysm, the thing which led to this massive rift among the cities and, created this enormous destruction in certain areas and not in others. Nulls, you might have heard about that sort of vaguely, but not described this way, whereas Sataria was like literally described to you that but this is out of a history book. Like you've never actually seen what it's like to be in the midst of this as you walk along. This must have been part or ground zero of the Magitech cataclysm. And as the ground...
Sorry, I was going to mention...
Oh, sure.
What phenomenon is telling Sataria that? What is she seeing?
The combination of scorched ground, thick fog, and acrid scent is exactly what it was described as a result of what was left over, and combined with the metal debris. Because as you get farther along, there's more and more metal and less earth. And eventually, as you get close to where you think the ship is supposed to be, it feels like you're literally walking on a field of metal. You have to actually carefully pick your way among all of the scattered bits of debris and so forth. And right near the entrance, as you move along, you can see the debris is now looming way above your head as you get close. And there is a tunnel which cuts into it. And of course, you may remember that the ship smashed into the mountains. So it almost became, this is half mountain, half ship in a way, right, that it was built around. And there is a tunnel that leads into where you think the ship is supposed to be. And right near the entrance are the ruins of a 10-foot wide stone monument. And you can see that the stone slab there once displayed a carved image of something, maybe hard to say. There's not much detail left, but it looks like there might have been some armored figures maybe or something like that that you can see etched on the stone. But there is an etched plaque at the bottom of this monument. and it says, "The mighty heroes of Thalys." And then it reads off Ultor, Ashvi, Nargim, Petrus, Nisa, Philomela, Xanalthea, and Calidri. The mighty heroes of Thalys. And I would say probably, actually, Knowles, make a history check for me. This, I think, is your department. Satara, you can do it too, but Knowles, I'm going to give you advantage on this check. Okay, 15 or
6.
Heroes, people, slabs. Knowles, I gave you advantage on this, so you can give that another roll if you want,
Okay.
just in case.
That's better.
Yeah. You're pretty sure, Knowles, in your travels and your gathering of stories, which you, of course, love, of tales and so forth, that you remember hearing stories of the legendary heroes of Thalys, those who first explored the ruined, destroyed ship known as the Centurion, and opened it up and were the first ones to kind of bring information about Magitech to the world. It was very dangerous in the ship at the time. And they were the ones who helped sort of create the Magitech revolution, I guess you could say. So you have heard that. You've also heard that most of those heroes did not return from their expedition.
So a really quick question. This is Malls is from an area where they rejected Magitech, but she also traveled to an area and studied for a time because she's very interested in it.
Yep.
So from where she's from, were there any tales about these heroes and how foolish they were, or that they led to their own demise?
Right.
That sort of thing?
Exactly. I was good. Then it's one of the exactly, and that's the reason I was having you do it, because where you were from, yes, absolutely, there were several stories that talked about the foolishness of people going to places where they did not belong and the destruction that they visited upon Thalys, et cetera, et cetera. But the place where you studied, of course, talked about the image of enlightenment. You're pretty sure the people making the slab for this were not the people from your hometown, right? They would not have built a monument to them. And you do know, of course, that the keepers, people like Dumig Rieger, he himself was part of the group that basically built this. Because you can see as you look into the tunnel that although it is now fallen into some disrepair, this obviously is a later thing than when the ship crashed, and in fact seems to have widened part of what might have been the ship's sort of outer hull, because you can see that there's now double doors that sort of lead into it, almost like they took it and made it into a museum of sorts. So yeah. And when you enter the tunnel, you can see that the door that leads in, there is a metal double door with these two cranks on either side of the door. So it's crank on the left, crank on the right, and the door is closed.
Start cranking.
Sure, if you want. Who's going to do each one?
Jaraxis steps back and he says, "If it's no harm, I would love to get a view of the door opening, so I'll abstain from cranking."
Well, Satari is not exactly strong, but presumably she can crank something.
Okay, who's going to do the other one? Knowles, Raven.
Lily and Raven eye each other.
Raven gives a long sigh and then walks to the other.
Okay.
Walks over.
All right, so when you both crank it, with a little bit of a screech of metal, but it is able to open. And as it opens onto an enclosed chamber with a windowed metal door on the opposite side. There are lighting panels in the ceiling casting a dim light against dingy metallic walls. Beyond the windowed door is a large chamber with a network of hallways branching from it. There is a 10-foot cylindrical metal column that marks the center of the chamber. And as you enter this place, you can see the glowing metal panels. It's very clear that Sataria and Nulls, you may have heard of things like this, but you've never seen them. But Raven and Jaraxxus, for the first time in a while, you are clearly standing on board a spaceship. And that's where we're going to bring our session to a close. Exactly, actually, as I hoped, because it means that when you next see these folks, about which more in just a moment, they will be exploring the ship. The Centurion, for the first time. They got there. They made it. They would have gotten there even earlier if it wasn't for a reversed puzzle, which I have already explained. I've already sent something to Rich in Discord being like, hey, just so you know. So, but I do want to mention, just before I let these four, before I close up shop with these four, I do want to mention that this group will be one of the groups as part of ArvCon, our charity event. They will be one of the groups playing during ArvCon, and so you will get a chance during ArvCon to watch these people. I love it. I try to make it so that during that event we get something super cool and special, and that cool and special thing is that these folks are going to get to explore the ship, something with which in general terms Jaraxxus and Raven may be familiar with. In general terms, Sataria and Nulls would not be familiar with, but of course this is hundreds of years old, so it's a big ship and a lot to explore. Very excited for it. I will start with on the, let me switch back to the, where's my other thing? Yes, I'll switch back to the cams. So starting with Jaraxxus, Zach, good stuff from Jaraxxus today. I really liked that bit of role play that you did where you were kind of getting the magic from the others and sort of figuring out what that looks like. And that was really fun to sort of watch play out. And it'll be interesting, I think, to see how that does. I have to say, and I don't know if you intended this or not, quite probably you did, but I was very much cracking up at the where Sataria is like, it's a sacred flame. It's not a lot of flame. It's a little flame. And then you're like, so you can control the sun. And I was like, a little flame, which means the sun, the heat of the sun.
Well, Sataria mentioned the sun, said something about the coming from the heavens or something like that.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But said like a little bit of flame, and then you're like, the sun.
Took that and ran with it.
I was
Yes.
just like, wow. So that was funny. And then obviously, I'm very much excited to see how Jaraxxus interprets being on board a ship again in this context, because it's big and unusual, but at least it's familiar technologically. How did you feel about, and also good work on that gravity sphere, which ripped open the Stonebreaker thing, by the way, at the beginning. How'd you feel about today's session? Where will the fine folks find you next?
Today was great. Little bit of everything today. Some combat to start us out. We had a puzzle, we had exploration, we had roleplay. So that's a pretty good session. Now we just need we need you to play some wacky NPC for us to meet and interact with next time. Because it's been a while. We got those the session before the session.
That's true.
With the fairies or whatever those weird
light things.
But,
yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, this session was fun. Yeah, thank you for lending me your cantrips, because I just had this unused class feature from level 3 that I was holding out something specific for, and then I just gave up and shifted to this, and I like this better because it's less to manage and it's gave a good roleplay moment. I'm excited too for the development of all of our relationships, and in particular how Raven. We kind of have learned something important about Raven in this session.
Yeah,
and how Raven will continue from there, and our relationship with Raven, and I don't know, just all of us, how we all interpret these different things differently. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I'm excited for when we play at ArvCon later this month. People will find me here for that. Also for the Arvocalists, where soon enough we'll be voicing characters in Citizen Sleeper 2, which will be starting next month. But later this month, the intention is that I will... Is this announced yet?
I have not announced it yet. I will simply say something special is happening with Zach and with the Arvocalists as a part of ArvCon. But what it is, we don't know. You don't know yet. I know it. It's amazing, but you don't know yet.
I'm glad I asked.
Yes. Yeah.
And then otherwise, you'll find me on my website and all the other links that are in chat there, and on Gen GMs, which is our show where Greg and I talk about GMing. And that's it on my Twitch channel as well. But yeah, that's all there. Thank you. It's been fun.
Good stuff. Thanks, Zach. Good work today. And yes, on the Gen GMs front, we have a bunch more short videos that have recently released. So please go over and subscribe to us over there. We're almost up to 100 subscribers over at Gen GM. So please join us for more of our GM tips. Right over to LaShawn. Yeah, I agree entirely. Really enjoying the way that Raven's character is developing. I love the idea of looking at this young person, then looking at someone who's much older. So it wasn't just that they recruited a bunch of young people, but that these people came from all walks of life and all different places. And the idea that Raven was somehow responsible for, killing them, one of them at least, and that it's not 100% clear how much they chose to be where they were or not. That's not clear. But that's very interesting and gives a sense more about some more little bits and pieces of what's going on with Raven as a character. And I appreciate that it hasn't just been, I imagine at some point it'll arrive at this, but it hasn't just been like, all right, well, for about a session I played kind of all loose and mysterious, but now everything's fine and now I'm just hanging out. Like, I'm aware that it's going to take longer than that for someone to get used to this group and to even know the experience of what they're dealing with, especially when there's so much mystery around this place. And as I said, you are also going on to something you're familiar with technologically, but not familiar with historically. And so that's going to create all these other things. So, interesting moments of role play, LaShawn. I'm excited to see what else happens with Raven. How'd you feel about today, and where will... Oh, and also, great job on taking on one of the pilots in the Stonebreaker, too. How did you feel about today? Where will the fine folks find you next?
She did not mean to do.
Wham! Just, headshot. Just destroyed.
Yeah. This is really messed up, Raven. I don't think no one knows just to the extent how much she messed up over this.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all get to find out how. So, yeah, I never actually played a character like this before. It's very, very different. So it's like, part of me is like, oh, it's so angsty. But then it's like, oh my gosh. Yeah, she's dealing with a lot of trauma.
Yep.
But, but that it will be interesting to see how the others will help, work that out, I think. Because, yeah, it's not something where, she's just going to, just completely lob out. She's dealing with a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of internal conflict, which is very much not being seen, but it's being sort of dragged out of her. And so it's an interesting character, and it's a fun character. I did not intend to write her this way, but yeah, as it goes on, it's like, oh, okay, it's intriguing, and I'm actually, it'll be cool to see, how she deals with all of this within the and going to the spaceship. That will be something where, who knows what will happen. So
True.
So yeah. So we'll see what will happen. But yeah, I had fun. With all the trauma aside, I had fun. So I don't know what that says about me as a character, but
well,
yeah.
One of my regular players, who I think is sitting in chat right now, for Eberron, often has described sessions recently as being like, it was great, I hated every minute of it, and it's basically that. It was terrible, it was amazing, like, basically.
Yeah.
So
It was the best of times. It was the
worst of times. That's right.
Yeah.
Very much that way. Where can the fine folks find you, LaShawn, elsewhere?
People can find me on Facebook, and they can find me at my website, Cafe in the Woods, which is tbonejenkins.wordpress.com. They can also find me on Blue Sky, underneath T-Bone Jenkins. That's my moniker everywhere. So yeah.
Good stuff. Thank you, as always, LaShawn. Great stuff, and I can't wait for the end of the month for the ARFCon session. Moving right up to Toya. Great stuff, Toya, as always, from Nulls. Continue to love the interactions with Gamork, of course, as we've talked about many times. But also appreciated all of the attempts. And I appreciated the attempts from everybody on the puzzle. Again, my apologies that the puzzle was actually solved earlier than I thought it was, because we all didn't realize that the puzzle solution had been reversed. But besides that, figuring out, I think, understanding historically, just as we talked about at the end, what Knowles understands about the history of these things is important. Just very, very super quick, I promise. I was reading an interesting article about Tolkien's vision of myth making. And one of the things that Tolkien does, who is always more subtle than he gets given credit for, I think, is talks quite a bit about what Rohan believes about itself and what Rohan actually was. Like, Helm Hammerhand at one point loses his mind and just walks around randomly killing people. Like, it's not this sort of like, he's always a glorious hero. Yeah, not so much. So it made me think quite a bit about the idea of, and that's why I asked you that question, the fact that you would be aware of those two visions of the Cataclysm and Magitech and its effect on the world, and your home base would be a lot different than where you went to study about it. So I thought that was really interesting, and it's going to be interesting to see where Knowles comes down in figuring out what her position should be relative to Magitech now and in the past. So that was all really neat. How did you feel about today? Where will the fine folks find you next?
Yeah, I also think that puzzle was the very first one we've had, if I remember correctly.
In that sense, yes. That's right.
So that was really, really interesting. There was something in the it wasn't really a spaceship, but when we encountered that first Caradon where all of the Twilight elves were kidnapped,
right,
there was something akin to a puzzle, but I think we kind of got around it by not having to solve it in a way. So this was the first one that, met us full frontal on the front porch, so to speak.
Yes.
And it was kind of cool how everybody solved it the first time and then kept coming up with new ideas and the kind of collaboration to solve the puzzle. So that was a lot of fun. I also am really enjoying all of the lore and seeing how things are potentially connected to the Caradon and the Magitech and these cultists. So I like putting things together puzzle-wise. So that's been a lot of fun for me too. And I'm also loving the depths of Raven. As long as she don't go psycho and try to kill everybody, because that would be a problem. You wield a knife will be staring back at you. That's all I'm gonna say. Anyway, I will not be anywhere really until Gen Con. You can, I lurk pretty much online, but if you are interested in my editing services, I have schnoodlemedia.com. But yeah, that's about it from me. Just waiting for football training camps.
Football training camps. Always a pleasure to have Toya with us. And yes, Zach and Toya will be at Gen Con, and I will be there. And then Rhiannon and LaShawn will be at Worldcon, and I will be there. So I will see these folks in different spots. Someday we'll all assemble in the same spot in the same time, but still, that'll be cool. Thanks, Toya. Great stuff as always. And Rhiannon, also really great stuff from Sataria, and I appreciated too. I really enjoyed that contrast between Raven's reaction to the body. I think you described beautifully Sataria's reaction to it. It's not disrespect. It's just like, I've seen dead bodies. Like, I'm a healer. Like, this is my job, is to sort of figure this stuff out. And we got a chance to see several examples where your, in this case, academic training, whether it was healing or towards the end when we were thinking about the fact that this is part of that Magitech cataclysm, you too, presumably, Sataria also will have her own opinions developed about what she feels about Magitech and its implications and good, bad, or indifferent, since you yourself are a bit of a hybrid character as a sorcerer who heals, right? As someone who both understands magic but also the healing word, literally the healing word. So I thought it was really neat to see the contrast with Raven in this case and just see more of Sataria's development as that time goes along. So how did you feel about today's session? Where will the fine folks find you next?
This was a bunch of fun, and I was so grateful to Raven to start that off, because then I got to bounce off of it basically. And the opportunities for the healer not just to heal, but to sort of see the other aspects of how she looks at the world is really fun too. So right now this is my only stream, but I definitely still hang out on the Discord for the Dungeon Scrawlers. And I will be on a stream eventually once we finish recording our backlog. And I am on Blue Sky at Rhiannon Held, and check out my books. And given this game, I think I'm going to suggest my space opera series, RZ Held. novellas. The first one is called Clean Install. So they're short. You can get one, take a look, see what you think. Got all that great space opera stuff with technology and nanites and sapient chips later and therapy cats and all kinds of fun stuff.
There you go. I'm already sold automatically. That's good stuff. Thank you, Rhiannon. And again, thanks to the players for working so well as a group. I really appreciate it. That comes across beautifully. And we will see you folks again for ARFCon. And just so all four of you know, I know Zach and Toy already know this, having done this before, but there is, of course, a critically important competition which takes place, which is which stream, which session will raise the most money for Damon Runyon. So I just want that to be clear that in the past, Esper Genesis, the progenitor of this campaign, did once win that one year. So, I just want to say, we'll have to see who is the S tier team, the A tier team.
We won it last year. We brought in $1,000.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
You brought. Were you the most? No, I think the scientists actually brought in the most, which seems appropriate.
We got a $1,000 pledge though.
You
and
did.
You were
you
like,
got the biggest
somebody
pledge.
gives $1,000,
Yeah.
I'll give you an advantage.
No, yeah, exactly. That's right, and that exactly happened. That's right. And yes, Shadow Mage, see, Shadow Crew is coming for you. This is what I'm saying. Like, everyone. I had someone once tell me, they're like, really, you should. It really is about bigger things. I'm like, yes, I might be joking a little bit about this, but friendly competition is always good if it gets more money for cancer research. But anyway, but I'm mostly just really honored to be able to GM these players. And chat, I hope you enjoyed yourselves as well. Please give some love to the amazing crew of the Expedition for the Mysterious Peaks campaign. Thank you to Rhiannon. Thank you to Toya. Thank you to LaShawn. Thank you to Zach. We will see you in a few weeks at ARFCon for the exploration of the Centurion. Bye for now, players.
Thank you. Good night.
Farewell.
All right. And that is going to do it for that. That was great. I did not plan for it to end up where they would just be entering the ship, but it is cool that they did, because now we are set to go, and I'm super pumped up for that. Oh my goodness. Wait till you folks see. Oops. Wait a second. Wait till you folks see what awaits them in the bowels of this ship. It's going to be great. I cannot wait. Yeah, it's going to be super cool. There's some wild stuff that's going to be happening as a part of this campaign. It's really neat. All right, so that is going to do it for us for this evening, chat. But we are going to do a raid today because we did have a solid turnout, and it is not super late. So, wait, what's this? What am I opening here? Ooh, yay! Thank you. I have just been sent the badge by one Shadowed Mage for ARFCon 2025, which means that we're getting there. We're getting the corporate sponsors, we're getting the badge and all that stuff. Yes, so Prince Justin, many of the things in the ship are inspired by the original Barrier Peaks module. The big difference between this and that, besides the fact that it's got modern storytelling to do, is the fact that in this one, you have, in this case, Thalasian characters, like fantasy characters, which are played by Sataria, which are played by Rhiannon with Sataria, and then Toya with Knowles. They will not know as much about what the world is. And of course, the original module, nobody knew what they were on because they're all fantasy characters in a spaceship. But we also, for this one, have two spacefaring characters in Raven and Dr. Jaraxis, LaShawn and Zach. And so that is going to be an interesting sort of balance with this. But either way, it's very cool. And I always found Barrier Peaks to be really interesting when I was read. I think I may have even run part of it way back in the day a little bit, but certainly not long. But this one really, and then goes way beyond it. It's already gone way beyond it. But there's a lot of cool stuff that happens in this center point of the campaign with the ship. So that's going to be super cool. So we are going to do a raid. Yeah, absolutely, Shadowed. And I was going to come talk to you about that anyway. I always do that in a certain order of talking to people, but that's great. So we are going to do a raid. If you are not a sub, please do this. The Arvanauts have landed, followed by Twitch raid. If you are a sub, please do this. The Arvanauts have landed, followed by Twitch Arvany then Arvany Roar, Arvany Hype, Arvany Smog, Arvany Love, Arvany Blown, all of the Arvanys when you were brought over automatically to the place that we are going to be rating in just a moment. Quick note on schedule. I will be back on my channel on Tuesday, and on Tuesday I will probably go over what the calendar looks like for the rest of the month of May. That is going to consist of, and that will consist of I've already pretty much scheduled everything for the month of May, so I will go over the basics of that. But Tuesday is going to be more Beowulf. If you liked this, if you like tabletop role playing and you want to know some more about the duet system, which is myself and one player, Tari Toons, then you can check that out on Tuesday at around noon Eastern. And then I will be over on GOG Comms Twitch channel at 4 p.m. Eastern for Pen and Pixels as I play Expeditions Rome, which is the game that I started playing on here. I've moved it over to GOG.com because I'm playing Oblivion Remastered on this channel, and I have no regrets. I like playing both of those games. So Expeditions Rome is going to be over on Tuesday. Then Wednesday will be off, and then Thursday I'll be back with more Oblivion Remastered, and I will give you folks all the details about everything else that's happening in the month of May. But remember, mark your calendars, because the one thing we know for sure is May 23rd through May 26th, and I can tell you that every one of my campaigns is going to be playing that weekend, with the exception of Beowulf. Every other campaign, though, is going to be featured, every other group, in some capacity, plus a concert, plus a special event, which I haven't talked about yet but will, plus the marathon session for Eberron on Sunday, an 8-hour marathon session, and the conclusion of Season 5 of Eberron Oracle of War, plus an interview with 3 Damon Runyon Cancer Research Foundation scientists, plus a tabletop game of the Damon Runyon Cancer Research Foundation scientists, GM'd by the amazing Mike Underwood. So it is going to be a great event, and all of that to raise money for the Damon Runyon Cancer Research Foundation as part of ARVCon 2025. Our goal is $5,000. If we hit that number, we will pass $40,000 raised over the 11-year history of the event, and that's very cool. We've gotten profiled now in their newsletter, which is going out to subscribers as we speak. Pretty big circulation newsletter, so I'm hoping we get a lot of attention for that. And already I have giveaway items coming in. I have 5 companies confirmed that are returning as corporate sponsors, and more to hear from. So everything is on track as it should be, and it's been great. This is honestly one of the most inspiring events that we have, one of my favorite events every year, because it brings us together as a community, and beyond the fact that it's personally important to me about the importance of doing this cancer research, it's also something that really shows the community what they can do together, particularly in a time when morale has been struggling with scientists and when there is kind of an anti-science focus at the highest levels of government in our country. This is a way to counteract that ridiculousness and to demonstrate. And I'm talking about this. I have heard this directly from Damon Runyon, that this event is something they're looking forward to, not just because of the money raises, but because of the morale it boosts, because it's the only event that they have raising money for them that is like that. A lot of what they do are fundraiser, like, dinners and galas and balls and, dances and events like that. This is the only thing like this that they have. And so they really have almost adopted it. It really is important to them. And so they said, I heard from them directly, especially this year, we're really looking forward to having it. And I take that deadly seriously, because if we can provide a small modicum of boosting of morale to these heroes, which is legitimately what these folks are, then more power to us, I'd say. So I'm very excited for ARVCon this year. So having said all of that, you saw the thing about the raid. If you like what you saw and heard today, please follow the channel. Check out our YouTube with !ArvTube. Thank you for watching over on YouTube. Please subscribe on my YouTube channel. It's free for you to do that. We're almost to 1,100 subscribers. I want to get to that number. I'd love to get there before ARVCon. It really helps us with the algorithm. It's free for you to do it, but it really helps us. Please go subscribe on YouTube if you haven't already. Discord is !ArvCord. You can hang out with the Arvanauts in between streams on Discord. Twitter, !ArvTweets until that hell site collapses. Blue Sky, though, is on the way up. Follower numbers and everything are really shooting up there, so please do follow me, especially on Blue Sky with !Arv. !Arvsky. And again, website for all this, arvanelaron.com. Financially, !Arvshop. That's our merchandise area. You can get cool swag associated with the channel and cool swag for yourself. The Patreon is sitting right there. That's !Arvtreon. Really trying to get that into triple digits. Would love to get that to triple digits before ArvCon as well. That's really the financial backbone of the channel and allows us to do things like pay for, you know, the overlays and awesome things that Shadow's done for us and multiple other examples of people, videos, music. The video you're about to see, the music was paid for and the video is paid for thanks to ArvCon support. So please consider doing that. Let me see. The subbing to the channel is also really important. You get those custom sub badges and emotes to use here, there, and everywhere across Twitch. And on the publishing side, Icarus, my graphic novel from Athos Arts, Library, that's my Tales and Tomes, The Forbidden Library, my 5e adventure and sourcebook from Alligator Alley Entertainment, and Greyshade, my Greyshade IP, Greyshade and Renegade, and Heretic, the Grey Assassin trilogy from Athos Arts. You can get those at that link, award-winning trilogy, spoken of as favorably compared to Roger Zelazny's Amber by a certain multiple-time Hugo nominee reviewer, award-winning fantasy reviewer. Anyway, but you can get those books. You can also get the audiobook of Greyshade from our very own Trent Sparks, and you can also pre-order the Greyshade tabletop role-playing game coming out in August of this year at Gen Con, designed by Brandon O'Brien, coming out from Alligator Alley. That is going to be amazing. I cannot wait to show you that, and there's going to be some special stuff happening with Greyshade in terms of release events and so on at Gen Con itself. So you'll definitely want to check that out. And last but certainly not least, BLM, Black Lives Matter, important to affirm and assert the significance and importance of Black lives. Help Now, the World Health Organization page on suicide prevention. Important to reach out to others when you need help and reach out to others when they need help as well. And Ukraine, UKRAINE, to help the people of Ukraine as they fight back against an illegal and illegitimate war with bravery and courage. And we send the message we'll do so for others in that situation in the future. I want to thank everyone who made this an awesome stream tonight. Thank you to my wonderful mods, Prince Justin, Shadowmage, Triffany Mats, and Drew the Damager, best in the business. Thank you so much. Oh my God, Shatter. That's awesome. Thank you so much to my Patreon supporters and subscribers. Thank you to Prince Justin, Shadowmage, Triffid, Drew. Thank you so much to my wonderful viewers. Thank you to Carates. Thank you to Baron Valor. Thank you to Butthurt Gamer, Jagtris, Mancheetah, Mrs. Dunsel, and Nonstop. We're both subs. Thank you. Thank you to Rianne and Z, of course. Thank you to T-Bone Jenkins. And thank you to the Jimmy Googs. I hope that table worked as well. And you enjoyed doing some work on that table as it was going on. And most of all, tonight, thank you not only to all of you, but thank you to my wonderful players. Oh, thank you to Alligator Alley for sponsoring this campaign. And thank you to our wonderful players. Thank you to Rhiannon Held. Thank you to Toy Kristen Finley. Thank you to LaShawn M. Wanick. And thank you to Zach Clay. That is going to do it for me. Please stick around for the raid as soon as the video is over. Plus, you get to see this awesome video again. And I will see you folks back on my channel as well Tuesday afternoon for Beowulf, our duet system 5e compatible or 5e based system event that we are doing along with the amazing Tari Tunes and then Expeditions Rome over in the afternoon on GOG.com's Twitch channel. That's it for me. Much love to all of you. Stick around for the raid. And as I always say, please be good to each other. Have a good night.